Good afternoon, Chancellor Tidings, Vice Chancellor Reynolds, Regents, and colleagues. It is my honor to welcome you to Jackson State's campus. You know, last year at this time, I was preparing to interview for this position. And as I was doing so, I was driving through our service area and I was stopping for lunch and stopping for dinner, stopping for ice cream and talking to people. And, you know, the topography is a little bit different than the mountains of West Virginia where I grew up. But the community, the sense of community and the pride one has for their hometown, it felt exactly like home. And so I am just so honored to be here today and welcome you. You know, like every institution, we have problems to solve and we have some challenges, but like I like to call them areas of future growth because we are always looking forward. And so today I'm going to tell you a little bit about the things that we're doing to move forward. And speaking of looking forward, I'm going to share with you a sneak peek of our new marketing campaign called Next Gen.
From the small towns of West Tennessee to the hustle and bustle in the heart of the city, a common thread is woven into the fabric of our community. We aren't afraid to get our hands dirty. We are a friendly face in your community. We are there when you need us the most. And we are paving the way for the next generation of West Tennesseans. We are the next generation of thinkers, the next generation of doers, the high flyers, the leaders, the brave, the bold, the ones who at the end of the day get it done. It's who we are. It's why we're here. And we are just getting started. The next generation of West Tennesseans starts right here. We are your community college. We are Jackson State.
Thank you. Thank you. And so last year we kicked off our marketing campaign, Your Community College, building on our legacy as a pillar of our community. And we have educated over 3 generations of West Tennesseans. And so now we're looking forward and to build on that Your Community College message with our next generation, who they are, what they'll be in the future, and the legacy that they will leave to our community. Here are some of the things. Of course, I couldn't highlight everything that we're doing, but I want to do a cross-campus highlight of all the amazing things that are happening at Jackson State. In the top left, you'll see our women's basketball team that is led by Coach Kelvin Lester, and they were highly seeded all season and made it to the Final Four and the state championship, and we were very proud of them, and we're looking forward to all the things that our athletics are going to do. We have a new athletic director coming in from Norfolk State. We have 2 new coaches for softball and men's basketball, and so we're excited for the future of our athletic programs. On the bottom left, you'll see when Governor Bill Lee came and took that same tour that you took this morning and met our AMT students and looked at our award-winning engineering science technology program, and that award was the Program of Promise from the National Organization of Student Success. So we're very, very proud of that program. In the middle, you'll see a student on a study abroad program. We had 23 students receiving scholarships to go abroad this summer. And they went to places like Ecuador, Japan, Italy, France, Germany. And these are opportunities that many of these students will never have again, but we were able to provide that opportunity for them to get global learning. And the top right is something that many universities don't even get to boast about, but we had a cadaver lab on our campus thanks to Professor Kenneth Oxford, who brought that cadaver lab for our health sciences programs to have an opportunity to understand what it feels like to do things like intubations on human tissue, because it responds differently than a mannequin. And mannequins are great for that repetition over and over. But if you really want to elevate the skills in a health science professional, you give them the opportunity to practice on a cadaver. And so we had that this year, and it was well received across all of our health sciences programs. And in the bottom right, we're very proud of our partnership with UT Martin. And so Chancellor Freeman and I, we met together to sign a dual admissions agreement to publicly announce our support for each other and our support for our programs and our colleges. It's been 8 months since I've started, and it has been an amazing 8 months. And it's thanks to the group of people on that screen right now. They are the most passionate and collaborative people that really, when you give them a project, they will get it done. When the Chancellor called me in January to say, would you mind hosting the board meeting? I said, absolutely. Hung up the phone, called Heather Freeman. Heather Freeman didn't miss a beat. I'm on it. I think within the week she had teams organized. They were all out here doing all the amazing things that you see now. That's the kind of people that we have on this team. We have last year's SOAR Award winner for faculty, Dr. Liz Mayo. We also have this year's SOAR Award staff winner, Kathy Roberts, who many of you met this morning. She's the one you can thank for those amazing students, their professionalism, and how well they represent Jackson State, TBR, and the state of Tennessee. In July, we opened our Gibson County Center. And the director, Sherry Channel, worked with our director of IR to have a SAC COC visit that was perfect. No recommendations, which is not a very easy feat to accomplish. And so they've done some amazing things with that center. In the top left, you'll see there's a mural that we worked with the county that pays homage to a mural that they had that celebrated their bicentennial. And so we have that in our Gibson County Center. The left is our ribbon cutting that had just tremendous support from the community. And then you'll see Jax. Jax is our Green Jay mascot. And he is also a mural in the Gibson County Center where students could stop by and take selfies with him any day that they would like to. Now I mentioned Jax. Jax is our mascot, and this year we actually brought him to life. And so he has been out to our Go Green tours in the high schools, handing out scholarships. He walked with me in that, well, I didn't walk, I rode, but he walked in the Strawberry Festival Parade. And fortunately for us, but unfortunately for the parade, we held it up because every kid and teenager flooded the streets to hug Jax, give Jax a high five, take pictures with Jax. It was incredible how much the students loved him. And so we named Jax through community and campus input. We started with a list of, I think, over 100 names. And then through voting and discussion, we narrowed that down, and Jax was the one that won by a landslide. So we are very happy to have Jax. One of the things that we are very proud of is our partnership with the JCM Early College and Dr. Nathan Lewis, who is their principal. We've had that partnership for almost 9 years. We've had 139 students that have graduated high school with their associate degree from that early college. One of the things that we're doing now is we're expanding that to the middle college across all of our centers and all of our service areas. So last year was the first year we had that. We had 110 students start as juniors with us. This year we'll bring in juniors and seniors, so we'll have probably over 200 students across 15 high schools coming to our campuses to complete their associate degree. We're currently working with Jackson Madison County School Systems to start an early or a middle college that is based on specific programs in the career fields as well. Because we want students to have the option to transfer or go to work as soon as they finish high school with their associate degree. So one of the things that we want to talk about today is 2 of our TBR funded projects. So I want to thank Dr. Deaton for his partnership and leadership with both the Reimagining the Community College and, as I'll talk about in a minute, the coaching project. The Reimagining Community College is our Project Greenlight. It's what we have branded that, and we were out meeting with HR professionals, parents, students, talking about how you can get credentials in your first semester, your second semester that make you more employable and help you earn a higher wage. We have programs with 12 technical certificates, Jackson State technical certificates embedded, and I think there's 19 industry recognized credentials embedded as well. So we have 73% of our students that were in that first fall 2023 cohort have re-enrolled already for fall 2024, and we're building on that number as well. So we're very thankful for that partnership. Excuse me. So the Tennessee Coaching Project, I know Dr. Deaton has presented on this previously and I think given you some of the success numbers, but we are very happy with the success that we are showing with this coaching project. The coaching project, the advisors, coaches, they have specific actions that they need to take. They have coaching and training, specific things that they say for with the students that help them come back, re-enroll, persist, and graduate. And so we're seeing a lot of early success with that model, and we hope to continue that. So some of the things that we're really excited about is that our fall 2024 applications are currently trending higher than they have in the last 3 years. So we've got a lot of wonderful things happening. I want to say thank you to our recruiting team. They have been all over our 10 counties doing our Go Green tour, recruiting students and giving away scholarships and getting them in the door. So thank you to Seth Harden and his team for all the wonderful work that they're doing, recruiting students and getting them through the application. Our enrollment is up as well. And so one of the things that we're really, really thankful for is for all of our directors and Tim Dillinger, I don't know where you're at, but thank you for, as you know, Tim is our Vice President of Financial and Administrative Affairs, but he's also acting as a role of Vice President of Student Services. And so he is working with all of our directors to help look at the processes, looking at things that are roadblocks to our students and removing them and making it easier for students to go through what we call the enrollment funnel. So 10%, our applications are up by 10%, a 30% conversion rate. So of those students who have applied, they're now accepted. So we have 30% more accepted. Of those students who are accepted, 90% are registered for the next semester. Now these fluctuate day to day, but this was where we were just a couple of days ago. So we're very happy that we're getting students through that front door, and now we'll focus on the retention. So one of the things you'll see is that we have over $40 million that we're investing in our facilities because facilities matter. Students want to come to a place where they feel that it's safe, it's clean, it's modern, and that they know they're getting an excellent education. We have over 15 major projects going on. I want to say thank you to Preston Turner, who was our fiscal plant manager, and David Greenway, who was our grounds manager, because all the beauty that you see on this campus, it's their work. So I wanted to say thank you. We keep them very, very busy. So here are some of the projects that are going on. As you can see, our parking lots were just redone, and they are beautiful. We're redoing our athletic fields, regrading the fields, redoing our dugouts, adding restrooms, because as my team will hear me say over and over, if you're going to do something, do it well. And so we're investing in making sure that everything we do is done well. On the bottom left is our administration building. This is what it will look like when it's finished. We are renovating the inside and the outside. As one of the 3 original community colleges, some of our buildings are a little bit older, and so we're investing to bring them all up and make them look modern. And that's a sneak peek of our new Regional Workforce Training Center. That's going to be the outside rendering of that, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute to give you a little more detail on that. But we're also doing things like adding a veterans lounge in our student center. We're redoing a lot of our HVAC systems and our roofing systems, and we're providing better areas for our students to work in, to study in, and to collaborate and be together in. So here's a couple more renderings of our new workforce building. We're really excited about this. We'll have some outside seating areas where you can flow in and out. It's going to be, if you turn this way, it's going to be on the corner over here. So there'll be a breezeway in between the 2 buildings for students to flow seamlessly back and forth between the McWhirter and the new workforce building for classes, training, all of those things. This is just the floor plan of the building, and you can kind of see McWhirter in the middle there. But when you come up to this stoplight, you're going to see this brand new building, and it's going to give you a beautiful presence on our campus. So part of this will be TCAT. So TCAT Tool Eye program will move from this building to that building. We're going to have flexible training labs where our industry partners will be able to move equipment in and out for customized training. And then we'll also have our engineering science program. We're going to move it into this building and double it. It's going to be really meet those 34 industry partners that we have now. It's going to meet their needs, and we'll be able to add more industry partners that support that program. It'll also have a very large community space in there, along with some additional classrooms and faculty offices. When I interviewed last year, I said my focus would be on relationships, resources, and now I'm all messed up here. Our relationships and our resources. And, one of the things with the relationships is we've been everywhere. We've been at so many different places, meeting with individuals, building our relationships both internally and externally on our campuses. So in our resources, with the facilities upgrades, we are getting grants. We just got a $1 million grant to provide some workforce training for free. And for those students who go through those training, they're able to get 15 credit hours applied to the degree when they apply here. And of course, our reputation. So everything that we do, we want to make sure that we are representing Jackson State, we're representing TBR, we're representing the state with excellence and with a focus on our students, because we are your community college. And I just wanted to say thank you for being here today.
Good afternoon. I'm Stephen Milligan, and I'm the president at TCAT Crump. So welcome to West Tennessee. I'm just going to give a brief taste of the college numbers and an overview. So TCAT Crump, we have 5 campus locations. Our main campus is in Crump. We have a Parsons Extension campus, 3 instructional service centers, and then we do teach at 13 of our high school partner locations. Just a little bit about our enrollment to highlight. 3/4 of our students are dual enrollment, as you can see. So dual enrollment population has definitely grown. Of our post-secondary students, this was interesting. 28% of our post-secondary students are part-time students. We have started 7 evening programs, which are part-time programs, kind of in response to the economy. More folks are working. They can't quit jobs. They can't come to school Monday through Friday. So that's an interesting statistic. We have a huge part-time population. And another one that kind of started with COVID and kept going is, you can see our hybrid students. We have 22% of our students attend virtually and then on campus, and we have 5 hybrid programs. Our completion, placement, and licensure numbers for 2023 are very strong. 85% of our students complete, 90% are placed in related employment, and 100% of our students pass their licensure exam. We have grown Skills USA participation. An interesting number is 90% of our students are under age 24. And so that younger population, as compared to the folks that were there 5 years ago, are more interested in being active and being involved. So this year we sent 24 students to Skills. 14 of those came back home with medals. 9 gold medals, 2 silver, and 3 bronze. Go ahead. Our silver medals were in practical nursing and electrical construction wiring. And then our gold medalist were in those subjects there. So we'll be sending 9 students to Atlanta in 2 weeks, and hopefully they bring back some national gold. I wanted to highlight two unique programs. One program we started is the Partnership in Agricultural Education. That was started with a Give 1.0 grant. So it was TCAT Crump, UT Martin, K-12 schools, and industry partners. That need was to develop skills to support the local workforce in agriculture. We start working with elementary school students to present careers in agriculture and start getting them to think about that as a career pathway. If you'll go ahead. Our Farming Operations Technology program was a result of the GIVE grant and the partnership. So we started an ag program. We have 5 diploma options: farming operations, crop production, precision production, livestock, and forestry. So students go to work in retail, they go to work in production, either crop production or livestock production. They go to work for seed companies, chemical companies. The forestry diploma graduates have gone to work for the Tennessee Department of Forestry as forestry techs. And then we have some students that become large animal vet techs. So the program's thriving. This program, with our UT Martin partnership, we have a 1+3. So UT Martin will award our students 30 credit hours toward their bachelor's degree. So students that choose to pursue and continue on toward the bachelor's route, that's an excellent opportunity for them. I think the hallmark of the program and of all TCAT programs is hands-on skills, active learning. So this program was designed with a really strong work-based learning theory. So our students get out when they're in the field, they're really in the field. We have a small farm. We plant corn and soybeans. We manage a herd of cattle. And then with UT Martin at their Coon Creek Science Center, this week our students were actually cutting and baling hay, and they're planting some test plots there at the UT Martin Coon Creek Science Center. So that partnership kind of lets us have access to some property and some land that we wouldn't have otherwise. The other program I wanted to highlight is Heavy Equipment Technology. This program was also started with a Give 1.0 grant. TCAT Crump and TCAT Memphis are the 2 TCATs that have the heavy equipment program. We are the first to be accredited by AED in Tennessee. And again, that heavy equipment technology program has strong industry relationships, strong work-based learning. This was a Heavy Machinery Expo we hosted the 1st of May. Our industry partners, CAT, John Deere, Stribling Equipment, came out, brought equipment to campus. We brought in high school students to promote careers as heavy equipment technicians. That program, by the 4th term, every student has the opportunity to do a co-op or an internship. So that would be their 4th and 5th terms. And we've been lucky with our industry partners to be able to place those students in those work-based learning opportunities. Finally, the future. So the future is looking bright. We are in progress with an expansion at our Parsons campus, about 8,700 square feet, to expand heavy equipment technology and to build space for an industrial maintenance program. And then if you have not received your invite, June 25th, TCAT Crump, we will be groundbreaking for a 27,000 square foot project. We're excited about our farming building that's part of that project, our industry training multi-purpose classroom, and then we're renovating some existing space. So welcome. Thank you for listening and learning a little bit about TCAT Crump.
Good afternoon. So hopefully you guys don't get tired of hearing from me. I think I'm going to have to speak for you 3 times in the next 2 days. And I was thinking, I've been coming to board meetings for 2 years now, and I think I've had to speak at every one except 3 or 4. So I promise after this one I'll try to be quiet. So, but thank you guys for being here. So starting off, TCAT Jackson, just wanted to. Anything I'm going to present here today couldn't be done without the great leadership team at TCAT Jackson. So Dr. Davis is Vice President of Stanton Campus. John Hodson is Vice President of Workforce. Meredith Cooper is our Director of Practical Nursing. And Karen Larson, Vice President of Instruction and Institutional Effectiveness. And Brittany Ward is our Vice President of Student Services. 2 of those folks are here today, so I appreciate them being here, Vice President Larson and Vice President Ward. So we'll start off with some student services highlights. I'm sorry.
All of the information discussed in this presentation.
I'm not sure where that came from. Sorry. So, so main campus is, of course, in Jackson. We have extension campuses in Lexington, Whiteville, and Brownsville.
All of the information discussed in this presentation can be found in the student handbook and on the websites at tcatjackson.edu and tcatwhiteville.edu.
Well, that is a summer. I appreciate her helping me here.
Forms that are listed under the orientation section of our website. All of those forms are fillable online.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Also, we have instructional service centers in Humboldt, Henderson, and here at Jackson State. I think you guys saw the tool and die program in your tour today. So some highlights of our student services. I don't know if we'll be able to bring that back or not.
All of the information discussed in this presentation can be found in the student handbook and on.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. All right, sorry. So 22-23 enrollment, we were at 542 students with 431 completers, 1,853 dual enrollment students with a 93% that received dual enrollment grant funds. Dual enrollment growth has been great at TCAT Jackson, and I appreciate the leadership of our student services in doing that. So as you see, we've had a 44% growth in that area, currently serving 19 schools in 11 districts with 74 instructors in our high schools. Had 3 students that attended Skills USA, and we had 3 golds in pipe fitting and plumbing, HVAC, and industrial electricity. So we are excited to be heading to the Nationals in Atlanta. Also, we were a slate application pilot school. We were level 3 in post-secondary alignment, advising endorsement, and also received our VETS campus certification. And I want to say I appreciate Cindy Palmer's work in helping us do that. Then in our instruction and institutional effectiveness under Vice President Larson, our completion and placement rate was at 80%. Our licensure placement rate was 87%, and our licensure pass rate was 99%. So we've experienced an increase in our COE benchmarks in the last 3 years, as you can see from this chart here. So the completion rate has gone from 77% to 80% since 2021. The placement rate has risen from 82% to 87%, and the licensure rate from 93% in 21 to 99% in the last 2 years. Truck driving and practical nursing have done an incredible job in preparing the students for the CDL and the board exams to reach those pass rates. Here's another one that I'm pretty proud of. If you know me, I'm very bought into industrial credentials. In 2022, we tested students and issued 62 certifications, primarily in our industrial those last year, we more than tripled those, up to 231 certifications. And we are feverishly working to increase the ability to give those certifications. And one of the reasons that we're doing that is as we increase our dual enrollment, we're also working with our high schools to ensure that those instructors are credentialed as well. Because as those students work to matriculate to us, it's a great way to ensure that we understand what they've learned coming to us if we have industry credentials that are aligned from our dual enrollment to our institution. So workforce development highlights. Regent Spurgeon, I promised you when I came here that we would increase apprenticeships. When I came, we had one apprenticeship with, a great apprenticeship with the electrical, industrial electricians around here, but we've now increased that to 48 apprentices with 8 companies and 3 different trades. So we now have an industrial maintenance apprenticeship with Kimmery, and we now have a tool and die apprenticeship with Toyota as well. And we recently completed 16 students that completed that electrical apprenticeship program. So tomorrow we'll talk a little more about our new Stanton Extension campus, but that's going to be a great event tomorrow. I look forward to having you guys there. That campus is in Fayette, but it will serve Fayette, Haywood, and Hardeman counties. It will have programs like automotive, electrical vehicle production technician, industrial maintenance, integrated automation, machine tool and die, and welding. So we were awarded actually $9.5 million of funds for the Stanton campus. We set aside $500,000 in unrestricted funds to purchase new equipment last year. And we did invest $1 million back into our R&R for future use. Also, we have created numerous positions at TCAT Jackson to help with the growth. I didn't have any pictures here, Dick. I wasn't sure if I was allowed to or not since they hadn't met the State Building Commission, but we do have a brand new truck driving facility that is coming very soon. We will have the ribbon cutting or the groundbreaking June 24th. Also, a Lexington Extension campus replacement. All the design is complete. I'm very excited about those projects. So with that is all I have. Thank you guys for being here, and we'll see you again soon.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. We'll call this quarterly meeting of the Tennessee Board of Regents to order. It is a warm but beautiful day in West Tennessee. There isn't a cloud in the sky out there that I saw as I headed down from Nashville this morning. Let me begin by acknowledging a couple of folks who are here with us today. Regent Duckett, I think, has slipped out, but former Regent Greg Duckett came by and joined us for lunch today, and hope everybody had a chance to say hello to him. We still continue to rely on Regent Duckett. He's now the chamber head, chamber chairman in Memphis, so continues to play a significant role in that community. But it was great to see him and have a minute to catch up. He is a star. And Senator Ed Jackson is here this afternoon. Thank you for coming by. Thanks for all you do for us. And we're excited about being in Stanton tomorrow too. So good to see you. Thank you, sir. Well, what a great start we've had. Folks had their tours. We had a lovely lunch from the TCAT Jackson. That gym was full of balloons and lots of warmth and great food. It certainly sets the tone for a very good meeting. Dr. Rothstein, one of the best decisions I've been privileged to be part of with the Chancellor and our search committee was the decision for her to come down here and interview, and ultimately the Chancellor recommended her to us as the next president of Jackson State. It may have only been 8 months, but my gosh, what an incredible job you have done. We're just proud to know you. And I couldn't help but smile when I saw those sparkly but comfortable shoes she had on. So she is running everywhere, you can tell. And I remember Regent Spurgeon on that search committee, you saying that Carol gave one of the best interviews you had ever heard. Yeah. So, and I gather in the community, the presence of the college is even greater.
It's even, I don't know if it's as good as our interview yet, because that was the best ever, but yes, it is significantly upgraded. She's doing one heck of a job. We're proud to have her here.
That's great. So that was evident. And to Stephen and the Crump team, you guys do such a great job. So much exciting going on there. And then, of course, here at the TCAT Jackson and tomorrow's activities in Stanton, we're looking forward to that. So thanks to Heath and the team. You were all amazing. Chancellor, do you have any opening remarks for us?
I do have just a few. Again, I would like to wholeheartedly thank Carol and the entire Jackson state staff for all that you did to get ready for us. You did do this on short notice, so we are extremely grateful, and you have done it so well. This is truly an outstanding event that you've put together for us. But I also wanted to take a moment to brag on TBR. The Board of Regents was named one of the 2024 Tennessee top workplaces for mid-size employers this year. We ranked 5th out of all of the mid-sized employers. Last year we ranked 8th, so we are moving up. I feel real sure that we'll be number 1 next year. But the most exciting part of the event is that they give out a Spirit Award every year. And we won. So not only is TBR a great place to work, but we are very spirited. We did all wear our caps and gowns, and they told us they've never seen anybody do that before. So we were able to win it. The Predators group was there. Rebath, which is a huge group of people, were there, and we beat them all out with our just magnanimous spirit that we have across the system. So thanks to everybody, particularly April, who put all of that together, nominated us again this year, and again, we win because we have a great group of people that we're allowed to work with every year. I also just want to quickly remind you that we are looking forward to having 2 newly appointed presidents begin on July 1st. Dr. Wendy Tosteson will begin at Volunteer State, and Mayor John Penn Ridgway will begin at TCAT Henry Carroll on July 1st. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you, Chancellor. I love the Spirit Award. So, and the spirit is alive and well today here at Jackson State. So thank you all. With that, Mariah. Oh, let me mention one thing before Mariah officially calls the roll. Our TBR family is expanding. Mariah's going to have another baby. I know. So little Grace will soon get to boss around a baby brother or sister. So we are thrilled for you. Thank you. I know. Call the roll when you're ready. Thank you for everything.
Thank you. For our regents in the boardroom, when I call your name, you can simply respond with here or present. For those who we have on virtually, if you don't mind answering those 2 questions for us. First, can the regent simultaneously hear and speak with others participating in the meeting? And second, is the regent alone in the room? If the answer to both questions is yes, you can simply answer yes to both. Anyone who is not alone should identify any other people present in the room. Governor Lee, Regent Apple, Regent Burdine,
I'm here. I can hear you. I'm outside on my back deck, so occasionally a dog walks across the table and no one barks at me. Cat leaves me alone. Denise is inside resting, and there's a maintenance crew around here somewhere, but they won't bother me. They better be working. Hope that answers the question.
thank you. Regent Garten,
Present.
Regent Gentile,
Present.
Regent George,
Here.
Regent Gill,
Here.
Commissioner Hatcher, Regent Hooper, Regent Kastner,
Here.
Regent Pilkington,
Here.
Regent Powers,
Present.
Madam Chair Reynolds, Commissioner Reynolds.
Here, a yes to both, and congratulations.
Thank you. Regent Roberts,
Here.
Regent Stevenson,
Yes to both questions.
Regent Spurgeon,
Here.
Regent Varlin, and Regent White.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We will dive into our business, which always begins with sets of minutes outstanding. You have likely reviewed the minutes from our March 27 regular quarterly board meeting, and then a special called meeting we had on the 6th of May. Does anybody have any changes or corrections to those minutes? These can be approved by unanimous consent, given their non-controversial and routine nature. Of course, if you prefer to object and have a roll call vote, you are certainly welcome to do so. Any objections? Hearing no objections, the minutes of March 27 and May 6 are adopted. Thank you all. Chancellor, we are coming back to you with your interim action report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The interim action report was included in the materials made available to all board members prior to our meeting today. This report does constitute a record of business transacted by the Office of the Chancellor since the previous quarterly meeting of the board. Madam Chair, pending any questions, I recommend the board's approval of the interim action report.
Any questions for the Chancellor? Once again, we can adopt this by unanimous consent, given the fact that this is routine and non-controversial. If you would prefer an individual roll call vote, certainly feel free to object. Hearing no objections, the interim action report is confirmed. Thank you all. Chairman White, we're going to move to the report of the committees, and you are first up from Finance and Business Operations.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. This is a report of the Finance and Business Operations Committee meetings that were held on May 29th, 2024. That includes tuition, mandatory fees, and non-mandatory fees for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, and the capital budget request for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. The committee report before you takes into account the financial condition of our institutions and the overall state of the economy, and includes recommendations on tuition, mandatory fees, and non-mandatory fees. With regard to in-state and out-of-state tuition and mandatory fees, the committee's recommendation for community colleges and TCATs is a 5.2% mandatory tuition and fee increase for academic year 2024 to 2025. With regard to non-mandatory fees, the committee's recommendation is to approve the 7 new TCAT miscellaneous course fees to support the increased already high cost of program operation. Please note that the out-of-state tuition and E-rate remain flat for the 2025 academic year. Also recommended are the capital budget requests for the TBR system for the 2025-2026 fiscal year that were presented to the committee. As committee chair, I move the board approve the report of the May 29, 2024 meeting of the Committee on Finance and Business Operations, which includes tuition, mandatory fee, and non-mandatory fee recommendations for 24-25 and the capital budget request for fiscal year 25-26 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Regent George. Any further discussion? If not, we will have a roll call vote to approve this one.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds. Commissioner Reynolds, are you still with us?
Yes, sorry, I lost my audio. Yes, approved. Sorry.
Thank you. Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Barlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Chairman Powers, to the report on personnel and compensation, please, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Personnel and Compensation Committee met on May 29th to review and recommend approval of the following items. Proposed revisions to several policies, President Emeriti contracts, Faculty Emeritus, system-wide compensation strategies, amended or new compensation plans for Chattanooga State, Cleveland State, Dyersburg State, Roane State, Southwest Tennessee, Volunteer State, and Walter State Community Colleges. Executive incentive payments. As committee chair, I move that the board approve the report of the May 29, 2024 committee of the, meeting of the Committee on Personnel and Compensation as presented.
Thank you, Regent Powers. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent Stevenson. Any discussion? Hearing none, a roll call vote.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Barlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. Hey, Chairman Burdine, before I come to you on the Audit Committee report, he is back in the room now. I acknowledged Regent Duckett, who's here with us today. So you stood him up for lunch, but the rest of us took good care of him.
Thank
He's
you.
waving.
Hello, Greg. Thank you for showing up. Okay.
It was great to have him
Miss you,
here.
Greg. I miss him. That's the whole reason I wanted to come down. But we'll get together again. Maybe it's the National Civil Rights Museum when Blue Cross
There you
comes
go.
back.
Chairman
My turn?
Burdine? Yep, there you
Yes,
go,
ma'am.
Audit Committee.
The Audit Committee met in regular session on 29 May 2024 to review and recommend approval of the following items. External miscellaneous reviews, federal audits, and internal audit reports. System-wide internal audit updates. University updates. Fiscal year 2024 internal audit plan revisions. Internal audit charter for Volunteer State Community College, and the Office of System-wide internal audit budget for 2025. Madam Chair, this concludes my report on the 29 May 2024 Audit Committee meeting. As committee chair, I move that the board 29 May 2024 meeting of the Audit Committee as presented. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Regent Burdine. We have a motion from the committee chair to approve the Audit Committee meeting minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mary Lou. Any further discussion? If not, Mariah, you're up again.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Barlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So, Chancellor, it is time for your report, and we have about 4 interesting topics today.
I do have several topics to review today with the board, and very excited to talk to you about each and every one of these. Back in January, I met with all of the vice chancellors, and my ask of them at that time was to look at what we were doing as a system, look at the initiatives that we were involved in, determine whether or not those were initiatives we needed to continue to be heavily involved in, or were there areas that we needed to shift focus on? Were there areas that we needed to do more in? Were there areas we needed to actually do less in? One of those I want to talk to you about today was in the area of policy and strategy, Dr. Deaton's area. And over the last several months, after a thorough review, central to the review that we were looking at, was the area of strategic enrollment management and the accompanying components of strategic enrollment and management. Over the years, changes have happened with enrollment management. Pandemic, our enrollment ups and downs that we've looked at, but the nature of the beast itself has changed. And so in an effort for us to be more responsive to that, we are actually restructuring part of Russ's division. The 4 units within policy and strategy division have been reorganized, with academic affairs and research and data teams remaining pretty much solid as they are, but having 2 newly designed units that will complete the division. And those new units are the Office of Student Success and Strategic Partnerships, which is going to be led by Vice Chancellor Heidi Lemming, expanding her duties and including several major efforts centered around student success, which you've heard a lot about, that we've talked a lot about. High impact practices, which you know Heidi is so well known, not just in the state of Tennessee, but all across the country for being engaged in. Our comprehensive learner record, which you've heard a good bit that we've talked about. And also now to begin strengthening our partnerships with the universities. We know that that's an area where we are not as tightly coupled as we maybe were 10 years ago. And so we want to do a lot more work in that area, and Heidi has graciously agreed to step up and take that charge and do more there. The new Office of Strategic Enrollment Management will now be led by a new Vice Chancellor, yet to be determined, who will elevate what we are hoping is this conversation about across the United States that we're having with strategic enrollment management. How do we continue to help the colleges be more strategic in their student enrollment? Looking at several major and emerging themes across this, such as the financial aid and the CRM that we are adding already and revolutionizing what we're doing in that area. This restructured policy and strategy division best positions TBR to serve our colleges and to meet contemporary policy challenges. So again, we're very fortunate to have the individuals that we currently have in that area and are looking forward to what the new opportunity is going to bring. So more to come as we fill that role. And Russ has told me that he's pretty excited because we've been advertising, deep pool. A lot of individuals, quality individuals, have applied for the position. So we hope to add to our bench strength there. And then I want to talk a little bit about our strategic plan. It is almost time for it to be completely redone. But as you know, when we wrote this strategic plan with the board several years ago, we made it a living organism. It is something that has continued to evolve every year. It was not a static plan that was put on the shelf, but one rather that every year we have continued to update, continued to grow with. But now it's time to sort of get ready to plan for the next iteration of what this is going to look like. So Russ's division will begin to put that together. We'll have more time together next year. We're not going to be doing it this year. This year is getting everything up to speed, and then next year we'll have another board retreat where we hope we will sit down, do what we did before, getting the plan ready to be updated and grow again with us. So more to come on that. One more area that I'd like to talk about, or Dr. Deaton, are you ready to come talk about the strategic plan update? Let me go ahead and turn that over to you to do that.
Thank you, Chancellor Tidings, Vice Chair Reynolds, members of the board. It's a good segue, and I want to first double back to the strategic enrollment management restructuring the Chancellor mentioned, because one of the elements that's been in the news lately that you've probably read about is the issue that we're having with the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid. I see Regent Varlin shaking her head already. It's been in the news. It's been quite an issue. And I'm gonna pull out notes to read some of this because this is a complex area. Those who work in it closely at TBR on the campuses can tell you this can get complicated fast. And of course, the cornerstone of this entire effort is that FAFSA. That is the basis of all need-based aid, both the federal Pell Grants, state grants, Reconnect, Promise, even the lottery scholarship. And that programmatic, that financial connection is its last dollar nature. Promise and Reconnect are designed to first leverage federal financial aid and then apply the last dollars to that. So all this is very much intricately connected. Now, in a normal year, the FAFSA opens up on October 1st for Tennessee Promise. But for this next fiscal year, the next academic year, 24-25, which we start preparing for fall 23, if you're with me, that implementation was delayed by numerous technical problems. This is what prompted you to read this in the press, probably. And effectively, that did not open until around February 1st. There was a soft launch, soft-ish launch in January, but February 1st, some 5 months later than normal. Now, that has dramatically changed the typical process for students and the colleges, effectively delaying FAFSA submissions by months. Now, that in turn, due to the FAFSA being the trigger for federal and state aid, that has caused significant declines in FAFSA submissions across the U.S. This is not unique to TBR or Tennessee. This is a national issue, of course. And to use Vol State as a sort of a lens here, when we first got our early looks at FAFSA submissions on campus, really in early May when some dust settled, we were down 29% year over year, 29%. Now that issue, do not underestimate how problematic this is, sprang Tennessee as a state into action. And this is where you step back for a moment. This solution here sort of highlights the vast apparatus the state's been building over the years to address an issue just like this, working collaboratively with state and private partners to address this issue. First, TCAT and TCAT under Dr. Gentile's leadership has pushed the promised deadline back several times, now sitting at August 1st. Is that right, Steve? August 1st from the usual time in, around March 1. Second, the partnering organizations, the AIRS Foundation, Tennessee Achieves, and others have executed FAFSA filing pushes, ramped up their own communications with their students and different campaigns. The colleges across TBR and across the state really, working with the central office here, working with TCAT and THEC, have dramatically ramped up their own communication plans with students, both first-time applicants and returning students. Financial aid administrators, admissions personnel, recruiters, you name it, personnel from across the colleges have just fanned out, shoe leather work to do extra high school visits, personal calls to students, whatever it takes to get more people filling out the FAFSA, completing it so they can access financial aid for college. A key tool in this whole effort is one of the elements Chancellor Tidings just mentioned, the CRM, the Customer Relationship Manager, essentially just a revolutionary way to communicate with students, something that's sort of standard at most universities, but under Dr. Lemming's leadership and others has become a central part of what TBR does. That has dramatically improved our ability to communicate with students, and it was a key tool to ameliorate this problem. This board, THEC, embraced that recommendation a few years ago. The General Assembly funded it, and that investment is paying dividends in this case right now. Furthermore, recently, Dr. Gentile and TCAT and THEC just announced a grant opportunity for the colleges to invest additional funding via a grant you received externally for more FAFSA events, for more personnel to help between now and the fall continue to get more students completing a FAFSA. All of this has had an impact. That 29% decline at Vol State, for instance, we're emblematic of the entire sector, is now down only 7% year over year. So we've had a lot of progress moving the needle. For Tennessee as a whole, and I may defer to Dr. Gentile for more chapter and verse detail here, but we are the #1 FAFSA filing state in the U.S. as of the last time I checked that website. 63%, 5 out of every 8 high school graduates has completed a FAFSA, #1 in the U.S. Now the downside is that number is still itself 12% lower than last year. 12% fewer high school grads have completed a FAFSA, so there's a good side and some work to do. But again, the situation is dramatically better. There are still areas of concern, and some of this gets in the weeds with financial aid, doing FAFSA corrections for students, making sure they have the right college listed as their first choice so we can work out the financial aid package. And the impact on fall enrollment is still very much unknown. But overall, what began as frankly, one of the most significant policy implementation failures by the federal government in decades has instead been mitigated by a lot of sweat equity from the colleges, by partnerships, by communication, and coordinated work to try to fix this issue, and we're well on our way to doing so. Are there any questions about that before I get back to the strategic plan update?
Thank you, Dr. Deaton. I just want to add to that, to put some more context behind the state of play for Tennessee. I wouldn't want to be in any state right now that's going through this, in any higher ed institution, but it's great. I'm grateful to be in Tennessee, where we have multiple partners and apparatus in place, be it the partnering organizations, TBR, the institutions, TCUA as well has been great work, as well as staff and TSAC and our advised TN counselors in high schools as well. That said, the grant we received is $1 million from the federal government via the ECMC grant. And I was just on a call on my way in here for my staff asking me to talk to TBR, which I'll do more formally later on, about having TBR institutions help us host FAFSA filing events, which we would reimburse institutions as well over the summer. It's an all hands on deck endeavor. We are still leading the nation in this. To what has been lost in this, and I'm sorry to keep on going here for a second, but is that where this is going as far as the FAFSA is, or after all these corrections, is a good place. Senator Lamar Alexander, before retiring, greatly pushed forward an effort to truncate the FAFSA. We've seen a great decline in the differences between students who submit a FAFSA and actually complete a FAFSA. There are some probably competing hypotheses on what's contributing to that, but it is easier to finish that FAFSA once it's submitted. That's good going forward for everyone, but it has been a really horrible rollout from the federal government. And I want to thank TBR institutions and our partnering organizations for getting us to this place right now.
Any other comments or questions? All right. I will roll into the strategic plan update as Chancellor Tadding so eloquently introduced. Well, again, and let me first point out in the lower right corner, if you haven't already, you can scan that QR code and you can access it and consume it. It is not indeed, as she said, a document that must be consumed and read. It is an interactive infographic. That was very intentional. It is designed to be utilized, and it is designed to flex and ebb and flow as TBR's work changes over the years. It is still philosophically connected very strongly to the Drive to 55, which is now the decade-long effort to get 55% of Tennesseans with a college credential by next year, actually. So we got some work to do. It is something this board has chewed on and reviewed and approved, as she said, 3 years ago, and it is in place now, and again, can be accessed via that QR code. To step back, though, and to think about TBR's identity, and we will, at our September engagement, get more deeply into new enrollments, graduates, and other data as we normally do. But to first just look at sort of the back of TBR's baseball card, if you will. Who are we? Remember that we are an open access system. You will hear that a lot. That is imbued throughout the strategic plan. We are the only sector of Tennessee higher ed charged with that, meaning we meet every student where they are, whatever their background, challenges, circumstances. We are going to try to get you to your goal, whether it's transfer, a credential, workforce ready, or all of the above, you name it. That enrollment, though, is down since the pandemic. Again, not unique to us, and it's down quite a bit from its peak in the post-Great Recession about 13, 14 years ago. However, dual enrollment is a growth area in TBR. You heard in the last few meetings from staff here about the massive dual enrollment growth, particularly at TCATs, where over a 4 or 5 year period, you're talking about the levels that have tripled or quadrupled across the sector. So massive growth there. And of course, at the community colleges, you've also seen similar growth. Adult enrollment has declined. We'll come back to that in a moment. That's been the area where we've faced much pressure, almost more so than other demographics. All that is set up against a student body that comes to us with exceptional challenges. Many of them are low income, thus triggering the very financial aid we're talking about earlier. More than half are underprepared for college as measured by GPAs and ACTs, which gets a lot of policy attention from us. And as y'all know too, seeing retention and success rates over time Our first-year retention rates have hovered historically, and this is true for decades, at between 50 to 55% first year to second year. Three-year graduation rates are around 29%, which doesn't mean the other 71 have failed, by the way. Many of them are still enrolled or have transferred, pursuing a credential. But we have success challenges, of course. And as you heard last meeting from Dr. Moreland, we now have much deeper insight into labor market outcomes than we have ever had before. We can now see the labor market returns of many of our credentials, much of which tells a very effective story for how our colleges are doing with their students and their graduates. So if you begin to sort of take that philosophical mission statement, those three pillars, access, completion, and community workforce development, and you sort of mesh that with the profile of TBR, that catalyzes itself into some very basic policy questions that we really wrestle with and occupy much of our time. This is designed, these next three slides are designed to help us zoom out a bit. You guys hear a lot at individual meetings about disparate policy approaches we take or how we're addressing a particular issue. This is designed to step back a moment, breathe it all in, remind us of where we are, where we're going, and how things fit together. For example, one of those catalyzing questions that our identity sort of forces, that our strategic plan mission kind of really puts front and center, is how do we expand that open access mission to new student groups? How do we think about who else we can serve, how better we can serve them? Over the years and in the future, you will hear about several things. You've heard lots of work in the EPSO space, particularly dual enrollment. Just mentioned the growth we've had at TCATs, for instance. Apprenticeships in Dr. Reed's area is a huge growth area, and many colleges are doing exceptional work in that space, leveraging resources, establishing apprenticeship agreements with industries. The strategic enrollment management area that Chancellor Tidings just mentioned is an area that has such active work with both technology like the CRM, advising, financial aid, the way we think about how we recruit and communicate, all that comes together, thus prompting even a new division here. And another key population that's been a priority of Governor Lee is higher education and prison work. And this is often called his Correctional Education Initiative, so I'll use the acronym CEI. And that has begun to radically transform the way we interact with that population. And after now several years of work, I think the last count, and I'll wonder if Dr. Reed or someone else might correct me, I think we have about 400 graduates, I've seen some nods, that have moved through that program that helps recidivism rates and helps those individuals and their families. So again, not to get too deep now, but as you hear about these over the years or in the past, these are all connected. This is funneled back into this open access question, which funnels back into that strategic plan that this board approved. And then another sort of catalyzing question, how do you improve access and completion for adult learners? Again, the enrollment pressures are most acute among that population. And there are several things, both programmatically, the pilots and innovation work we do from a research perspective, that go into thinking about how we address adult learners. Obviously, the state policy environment is very rich here. You've got Tennessee Reconnect now going into its 7th year. You've got tons of research that the team has done here that's connected back programmatically to efforts across policy and strategy and TBR. And looking ahead, this summer, Dr. Lemming and team are going to host what I think is actually, Heidi, the second overall adult higher education convening focused on that population, the first one being when we launched Reconnect 7 years ago, that will bring together folks to talk about how you address that population, which has faced some significant pressures in this economy post-COVID with a low unemployment rate, a rich job market, how you convince them for their long-term future to come back to higher ed. And then a third, again, catalyzing question. How do we re-engineer at times, re-retrofit the academic space to support students and support colleges as they innovate to improve student success and fulfill TBR's mission, student success and workforce development? Some of this will now go back a decade. You have heard voluminous research about students who are underprepared when they come to TBR. This is when we get into the question of co-requisite remediation, which is a different question that this board engages with. Most states, the question is, which track does a student go into? Are they on a college level track or do they get placed into remediation? It's a different question here. In Tennessee, the question instead is, you're going to get placed into college level work. How do we then support you with learning support on the back end with a class that helps you succeed in that college level course? And that triggers questions about whether you use high school GPA, how you structure learning support, all sorts of things to help support academic students and their success. As Chancellor mentioned, our work in high impact practices is second to none in the nation, and that work is led by Heidi as well, whether it is service learning, research opportunities, study abroad trips, you name it, things that help improve the academic experience for a student. There's tremendous work as well in the competency-based education space, again from Dr. Reed's team. We're now up to, dozens of courses, I think, Jothany, at least, that, and several degree programs probably, that are now offered in the CBE format. Again, the fruits of previous investments that this board endorsed, that THEC endorsed, and the General Assembly funded several years ago. You've heard recently, in fact, you heard Dr. Rothstein mention the coaching project, the reimagining community college space, areas that, again, not to get too detailed today, but this board has seen that try to, in some ways, reimagine, in some ways, introduce completely new ideas into how we address the success challenges our students face. In September, you'll hear about accelerated courses, colleges that compress the 15-week semester into 10, 7, or even 5 weeks, how that impacts student success. It's been implemented with great success at certain colleges. Others are watching how that's gone. We have been conducting some in-depth research about that process the last few years. You'll see some of that in September. Again, all of that catalyzes around what are those big questions that occupy TBR's, occupy our attention, that connect our identity back to that strategic plan. So in conclusion, as Chancellor mentioned, looking ahead, we'll be re-engaging the board about where the next phase of the plan is. Perhaps it is simply reaffirmed. Many of those pillars are timeless. When you think about the identity of a system like TBR, access, completion, and the community workforce development impact are sort of timeless principles, but want to re-engage the board and get an eye on the state environment for how our next wave strategic plan would fit into all of this. Again, this board sets the strategic direction for us, as you did with the strategic plan, and under Dr. Tiding's leadership, we then go about doggedly pursuing the ideas that can fulfill that and bring life to it. So I will pause there with questions from the board. Regent Kastner.
One quick one. Thank you for this. You mentioned that Tennessee is the #1 filing state in the U.S. for FAFSA applications, and you mentioned the percentage of students, high school students that applied. What was that percentage again?
63% currently. And Steve, if you have a more updated number, tell me. So yeah, in Regent Kastner, that's of all high school seniors, 63% have submitted or completed a FAFSA as of the most recent data, which I think is last week.
So that's like 5 out of 8. What's the timing of those applications? Is that while they're still in high school, or is it immediately following high school, or how's that?
Could be either one, because it's this year the unique timing. It could have been they filled it out in February, or they're doing it as we speak, or they've done it already because they're in the data. But yeah, but now we're down 12%, so there is a decline. But we are now, I think Louisiana was #1 for a while. We passed them back, so we're #1. But it could be any time that the FAFSA is open.
But the 63% is after the 12% decline?
I'm sorry.
The 63% number, that's after the 12% decline?
Yeah, well, yes, that's yes.
Okay. Interesting, thank you.
Yeah. Regent Gill.
First, great presentation as always. Can I go back to like the second or third slide where you were presenting some of the data? I just have 2 quick questions.
Sure. One more.
Yeah, I think it's this one right here. The growth of the TCAT's enrollment. Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's been phenomenal. What is the anecdotal reading tea leaves going future? Are we staying on that trajectory? Is there something here that was just interested into guys and gals early on,
Sure.
or is this a change in the way that they see the world?
I would give you a couple of thoughts and invite others too. Several things. Well, first, you heard from President Milligan. I think it was it Stephen, 3/4 of your enrollment now is dual enrollment, I think it was. So you have seen colleges just prioritize that. You've seen the demand side increase. So high schools are wanting that more for their students because of K-12 requirements, TISA funding requirements. You've also seen legislative changes that have helped. It is now, dual enrollment is now open to 9th and 10th graders. In fact, the biggest growth area is in that population. It's among 14 and 15-year-olds. And so you've seen just several things converge on this. The Chancellor's made it a priority. I can recall her talking to the presidents about ramping those things up. TCAT Jackson's got tremendous growth. TCAT Crump's had tremendous growth. There are others too, but it's been a concerted effort combined with legislative changes, combined with some of the demand pressures from the K-12 side.
And then the second, out of every 100 first-time students who began, 56 returned for the second. Is that both TCATs and community colleges, or is that just the college?
That is just community colleges. The TCAT numbers are different.
All right.
Yes, sir. Chancellor Tidings, thank you. I'll turn it back over to you.
I want to take another minute and talk to you about another initiative that we're working on. All of you are aware that excellent teaching produces excellent learning, which produces excellent graduates, employees, and citizens. But it all starts with excellent faculty, because they are at the heart of every single thing that we do. We can work hard all day long with FAFSAs and enrollment and get people in, but if we don't have the best of the best in our classrooms, and of course we have two prime examples sitting at this table with us today of the best, it is our job as a system to try and help faculty to continue to be at the top of their game. And so over the next several months and into this next year, you're going to see us strategically focus even more on what we can do to help faculty. We brought Dr. Summers, as you are all aware, back to the table after she retired to take this initiative on and to continue to work to put pieces of the puzzle in place for our faculty to have at their fingertips to help with their skill sets as they're continuing to teach. You've all heard the student bodies change, the people that come before them have changed. Well, our faculty need to have ability to be able to change as well. So our goal is to increase what we're doing with the faculty professional development programs. This is not just Dr. Summers' initiative, this is the entire system's initiative. Dr. Lemming and Dr. Reed are working diligently with her to bring a lot of our staff members to the table, to bring our presidents to the table, to talk about what are the things that we need to be doing. Again, it's interactive. This is not a one and done. We will have things on the internet that the faculty can go to as resources. We'll continue to have faculty development training, but we're going to take what we called in the past our New Faculty Institute, and we're going to up our game there. Particularly for our technical college faculty, when they come to the table, the majority of them have never had a course in how to teach. They are exceptional at their skill. They're at the top of their game at what their profession is, but they don't know the secrets to teaching. And so that's what you're going to see us really focus on over this next year, on how we can, again, be much more intentional in working with our faculty. So more to come on that. I'm just excited to let you know that we have made great progress over the last several months with what Dr. Summers, Dr. Reed, and Dr. Lemming are bringing to the table there. My next initiative that I want to bring to the table for you to talk about today is our capital projects. And so Dr. Tracy, if you will make your way up to the podium. Dr. Tracy, we had 6 groundbreakings scheduled during the week of June 24th at various TCATs. We had 2 last week. You know that we have the one coming up tomorrow. We're very excited that all of these projects are still on time and on budget. So Dick, I will turn it over to you to give them the latest and greatest update.
Thank you, Chancellor. As you recall, last year we were expecting to get in this current year's budget roughly $1 billion to address our issues for our TCAT master plan, which was the 29 projects. We mapped out our schedule at that time on how we felt we could execute these projects across the state. Jeff Holmes has been working on keeping the schedule up to date, and I know we've given you updates previously. And so one of the handouts I have, the first slide, since you may not be able to see it on the little screen, is the updated schedule. If you'll notice, the column that's in yellow is what the Chancellor was talking about, groundbreakings, and what we're tracking on that are when the projects go to the State Building Commission for the approval of the design. So if you see the ones in yellow, those are the ones that have already gone to the building commission and been approved. And the one that Heath talked about was approved earlier today. So we had 2 EDPs that were approved today. So like I say, this is our up-to-date schedule. As you can see on column 5, that's our completion date. And we're tracking right now to have all these projects completed in the year in 2026. On the back of that page, again, is some brief information for you about each of the projects, and if you're asked about specifically items that what we're doing at those projects. Next slide. So to kind of give you a brief update, here is kind of where we're at on projects. So these are the actual projects that have either been approved by the design, or these designs are what we're getting ready to take to the building commission. So this shows you the progress that we've made to date on the design of the projects. Some of these required the acquisition of property, and in the state, I can tell you a lot of times they'll take up to a year. We've completed, I think, all but one of those transactions, and that's a transfer of jurisdiction within the state. But the ones that we're dealing with either through local government or private, we've completed. And so, like I say, we'll keep this up to date, but these are the designs that we have. As you can see, they're all different. Our goal is to make sure that each one fits the campus, the community, and addresses all the programs. Also on this, there are some projects that were funded in the previous year. I think the $250 million we got. We've got the TCAT Morristown, the new Greene County campus. We've completed the transaction with the state on that property, as well as the Roane State TCAT Harriman project. So like the Chancellor says, right now, we're on time and under budget on all these projects that we've been taking to the building commission. And so, other than that, if you got any questions. Yes, sir.
Congratulations. I mean, this is, Todd, you may have seen some of this kind of stuff because you all go nationally, but this is pretty impressive. I guess my biggest question, looking at what you've already gotten done, would be what are you doing with your spare time?
I have a whole nother, I'm still, Chancellor knows, my spare time, I'm still doing work for TSU. So that's my other full-time job that I have, Regent Reynolds knows. So, we got a great team. I can tell you right now, well, we were down to 2 project managers. We're up to 3 right now. We're short 2, but we have about 15 people in our office. I can tell you general government has about over 30 that doing in their area of capital. We have a lot more work currently than they do. But our approach to it is, as you can see in the columns, we went out early, we got CMs. We went out and talked with them to see what the interest was, to make sure we could get a lot of responses. We have a lot of designers, the same thing, and we go through the process, and our recommendation and our evaluations are to find the best teams for those projects. They don't all go great, but like I say, we know who we have going in. Right now, we probably have open contracts across the state with all our projects with about 100 different architectural and engineering firms. Different. Some of them have multiple projects. And if you've ever worked with architects, like me, it's difficult at times. We probably have 60 or 70 contractors that we're working with across the state. And again, there are challenges there. But, we have good people in the state doing work. We get good teams. And like I said, we probably got the best across the state of a team that get this work done. They've all bought in. I mean, we're led by the Chancellor. I can tell you when we've had people out for illness, we've had some other issues, and with a limited number of people, it's pretty much an office. It's next man up. I'm running projects, Jeff's running projects. What do we have to do to fill in? If the Chancellor's on the site and I ask her to go look at something for me, she'll do that, right? I mean, it's whatever we need to do to get the work done, right? And so, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And still coaching.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah, well, I appreciate it. Like I say, and we'll keep you guys up to date. If you have any questions about this, just reach out to us and these projects. We're working with Kim. We're putting together kind of a briefing that we're sending out to the legislators on where we are on the projects prior to the ground. So we're keeping them up to speed. So if they're out there wanting to have announcements, groundbreakings, or whatever, we're giving them the information. And we've been talking like I say, we're working with the building commission. We've taken the most EDPs, I think, ever at one building commission where we took a number of them. A lot of those, they'll let us approve them on the consent agenda through the state architect. So we have a lot of, we got a lot of trust within the state building commission about what we do. So we've got a great relationship with them. So again, they allow us to do a lot of things that they understand that maybe not exactly like everybody else does, but that we'll get these accomplished. But I appreciate it. Any other questions?
One
Yes,
real
ma'am.
quick question that you just made me think about. When you talked about the building commission, I wondered about just the other agencies, if there's any kind of partnership agreement with, say, TDEC or any of the state agencies, where if there are site issues that come up or building issues that come up, that you preempt it by already having some kind of a MOU or something with them possibly?
In getting those things addressed?
Yes.
Yeah, so I can, again, know the commissioner of TDEC really well. And so we worked with them on the Blue Oval City. When the project before the project became a project, again, we try to be preemptive about how we do it. So when they talked about the project and where the possible site was, we have engineers and architects that are basically consultants across the state. We brought those in and I sent them down here to scour the property, the utilities. Again, and then had them work directly with TDEC because as you know, we started out, we were drilling wells for water in a septic system. So we were looking at what the capability of the well system would be down here, whether the soil, we checked all the soils maps. So we were doing a lot of that before the project started. We have, like I say, know the commissioner of TDEC, so I can call him, get those things done. We work a lot with the state fire marshal's office. So on a lot of these projects, we've met with them and said, we're pushing these things forward. You know, they'll be coming to you. We just want to let you know. So we kind of keep them up to speed so that they're aware of that these are coming and that we need their help in trying to get these things done.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I think you're having an awesome execution.
Excuse me?
Your execution is awesome.
Oh.
Congratulations, you did a great job.
Thank you.
I'm seeing, the challenges I've seen outside of TBR in construction has been contractors and subcontractors being able to adequately man their jobs, but it feels like it's getting a little bit better. Are you seeing that same?
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Okay.
and that's, I think, one of the first things that Jeff and I did in talking with the CMs, and this is kind of our approach on the Stanton project and across the state, is that we're tracking, first of all, I think the stress right now across the state is the labor market.
Right.
There's still a lot of long lead items. Electrical still a year out. Mechanical, depending on there's leads. So we're tracking those things. We're doing early packages. So we're telling the designers, we're getting the CMs to basically, they achieve a control schedule. So I got them driving the design because architects will design till the end of time. So we're telling them, you tell the designer when you have to have the information. So what we'll do is we'll get the electrical designed. We're still working on the design of the building, but we'll get an early package to buy, say, the switchgear and panels, because could be a year out. So we'll get that out there. We'll make the decision on sizing, what we need, and we'll get that out there. We won't start the notice to proceed with the contractor, but we can issue him a purchase order. He'll order it, we can pay for it, he can store it off-site. We work with risk management where we'll go out there, we'll send the designers, you know, they'll document it, and then we can insure that off-site. So we'll have purchased it, we'll own that. We're looking at a lot of early site packages. Again, right now there's a stress on civil. I mean, there's just not a lot of people, and they're fairly busy. So in bringing the CM on board during construction, their job is to go out there and start looking at the trade market, sub-market, and getting interest in these projects. So what we've done on some of these, that we have maybe 2 or 3 of these projects, they're separate projects, but we hired one CM for multiple projects. Again, it wasn't about necessarily the cost savings, and there'll be some in there, it won't be a lot, but it gets them the ability to go out there and to track those trades to say, I've got this project, and then you'll turn and go on to this project.
Right, they can roll their staff.
That's
and
correct. And so
yeah.
it's a bigger project. It's a bigger project to get a lot of interest from the CMs, but it's also gives them a lot more leverage in going out there and bringing the trades.
That's a great approach. Yeah, in my world, we can anticipate the lead time on items like generators and electrical and whatever. What would surprise us would be when a sub or a contractor would say, hey, I'm not staffing
That's
as
correct.
easily as that was always a surprise.
Yes, that's been, and again, that's a challenge, and I don't see any relief in that. I don't think they're bringing enough people into the market, so that's going to continue to be a challenge in the market, just having enough the mechanics on the job. We're working with them in some of our campuses and programs out there trying to recruit, setting up programs to do that, but just getting young people interested in that is tough.
Good job.
Thank you.
As you can tell, we cannot be thankful enough to Dick Tracy and his team for the work that they're doing. We would not be where we are without them. And the great reputation that we have with those that we work with in the state, it's because of them. So thank you very much for that. I do have one last item that I am so honored to share. This is the incredible accomplishments from our systems marketing and communications team. As I'm sure that you are all aware, effective marketing and communications are critical to our mission of attracting, engaging, and retaining students and enhancing our reputation all across the state. Our marketing and communications function at the board plays an increasingly important role in overall operations, as it helps to design and tell the story of our programs, our initiatives, and what we do as a system every single day. Our marketing team has not only met but consistently exceeded all goals set for them. Their dedication, their creativity, and strategic vision have made our marketing operations extremely effective and exemplary, consistently winning state and national awards for their work, less resources than many of their peers have. I am thrilled to announce that our marketing team has once again been recognized as one of the state's leading higher education marketing operations, bringing back to the system an impressive 13 awards from the Tennessee College Public Relations Association, including 6 gold awards. I'm particularly pleased that our SOAR Awards won the top spot for a special collegiate event, and the Trucking Tennessee campaign brought home the best logo and promotional video and was a nominee for Best in Show. Additionally, the Webb's team's redesign of the Tennessee eCampus brought home silver for the best overall college website. These awards testify to our marketing team's hard work, their talent, their dedication, as well as their keen knowledge of the audience that they serve. While most of the work is recognized in the creative area, the research, the strategy, and the partnerships with our colleges and other system departments allow the creative work to happen. Their collective efforts and innovative approaches have boosted our engagement metrics, they've enhanced our brand visibility, and they've strengthened our community engagement. I want to extend my sincere gratitude to Dr. Matthew Gann and the entire marketing team for their extraordinary work. Those of you that are here in the room today, would you please stand and let us give you a round of applause. Again, a group in our office that goes above and beyond every single day. You will not ever pick the phone up and call Matthew and company and ask them to do something that they just don't say, okay, we'll have it done. No problem. We'll take care of it. And they do in a remarkable fashion. So we are deeply grateful to each and every one of them. So thank you very much, Madam Chair. That concludes my report today.
That was an excellent report, in keeping with the Spirit Award.
We're spirited.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it also reminded me, seeing Matthew's team, Kate is helping us out today, as she always does, in Carol Tomlinson's absence because Carol is on grandbaby watch. Have we heard anything yet? Okay. So once again, the TBR family is growing. So, but well done, you guys, and Chancellor, well done. Anything else for Chancellor before we move on? All right. We have no unfinished business to return to this meeting. So now we have several new business items to get through this afternoon. The first being on our consent agenda, which we heard about at our committee chairs meeting on May 29, this exciting nuclear technology program proposal for Roane State. Does anyone have any remaining questions on that? And if not, the floor is open for a motion to approve that program.
So moved.
Thank you, Regent Varlin. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent Powers. Any discussion? Hearing none, this will require a roll call vote.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten. Aye. Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Oh, aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Varlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. All right, President Whaley, go forth and do great things. We know you will. Very exciting. We have some informational reporting as well. Dr. Reed is on the move to give us our accreditation summary report.
Good afternoon. Good to see everyone, Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor Tidings, and members of the board. I'm happy to give the annual accreditation and quality assessment report for 2022-2023. First, I will start with community colleges. And next slide, please. Or do I control this myself?
Either way is fine. I'm happy to do it for you.
I can do that. Thank you. I'm just playing with it. Give me just one moment. There we go. All right, we'll start with community colleges. First, we're looking at their institutional accreditation. And again, that accreditation is really that recognition from an accrediting agency that shows our institutions are maintaining a certain level of educational excellence and standards. All 13 of our community colleges are complying with the standards required for accreditation by the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges, which we refer to as SACS COC. All 13 institutions have submitted other types of compliance documents, things such as the 5th-year interim reports or substantive changes or monitoring reports, are the types of things that they're involved in. Our colleges are also involved in what we call program accreditation that are aligned to very specific programs. TBR Community College participated in a total of 197 accreditation related activities. Those are things which include self-study reports, program reviews, site visits, and interim reports to those accreditation agencies. We had 42 accreditable programs in our colleges receive notice of accreditation, reaffirmation, or continuing accreditation during this time period. And we also had additional program accreditation activities during this period as well. During this period, we also had academic audit, and academic audit is a faculty-driven process to really ensure continuous improvement around quality processes for teaching and learning, and therefore more student success. We had 20 academic processes system-wide go through the academic audit. That included 13 degrees and 8 technical certificate programs reviewed through academic audit, and each program completed an academic audit self-study written report, and they had an academic team review that with an on-site review with commendations and recommendations for continuous improvement. They also went through program review. We had 3 programs across the state go through program review during this period, and they all did very well. During this program review, each area did a written report and hosted external peer reviews, either on campus or virtually as well. These peer reviews also did an evaluation of the written report. And again, all of these things are done in the spirit of continuous improvement so that our programs are known for excellence and hallmarks so that students get the best education possible. The next thing I want to talk about for us on slide 3 is TCAT's accreditation report during the same period of time. I'll talk about their institutional accreditation first. All 24 TCATs continuously monitor and comply with standards required for accreditation by the Council on Occupational Education, which you often hear referred to as just COE. Just some quick highlights of what happened during this period of time. The merger of the TCAT Henry Carroll and McKenzie received initial approval during this year. TCATs at Athens, Hartsfield, Hornwall, Jacksboro, Livingston, Nashville, and Northwest received final reaffirmation. TCAT's Crossville and Pulaski hosted reaffirmation site visits in this cycle. TCAT's Athens and Harriman received CLE approval for substantive changes to get an institutional service center, and all TCATs submitted their CLE annual reports by March during this period of time. In terms of programmatic accreditation for our TCATs, all TCATs participate in a total of about 11 program accreditation-related activities. Those included activities such as self-studies, program reviews, and site visits by accreditation agencies. All of those programs involved received notice of reaffirmation and continuing accreditation. All of our programs from the colleges, which are institutional accreditation or programmatic, are all in good standing. So I'm very proud of the excellent work that our colleges are doing with our presidents leading this work, and the faculty who are engaged on this at the programmatic level as well. That is our report. It's informational. This is the annual report to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Dr. Reed? Thank you. Noted for all of our colleges. I know this is a lot of ongoing work, but as you said, it's important to maintain that standard of excellence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Chancellor, I think you have a college president you want us to name today.
I do, and before I do that, I will just point out one thing that I learned last week about Dr. Reed, and you know she does such an incredible job when she gets up and presents to us, but she also started out as a stand-up comic, so we know that that's why she brings such great humor to this position. So.
Exactly.
Oh, Madam Chair, members of the board, it is now my pleasure to bring before you today my recommendation for the next president of TCAT Elizabethton. President David Hicks recently submitted a letter of resignation that will be effective on June 28th. The board approved the search criteria for the next president at TCAT Elizabethton at a special called meeting held on May 6th of 2024. The committee, chaired by Regent Miles Burdine and comprised of Vice Chair Emily Reynolds and Danny Varlin, approved Heath McMillan as the sole finalist for the next president of TCAT Elizabethton. I want to thank the Search Advisory Committee members for their commitment and support on this search. And after careful consideration of the feedback received, Madam Chair, I am very pleased to recommend to you Dr. Heath McMillan as the next president of TCAT Elizabethton. Should the board approve this request, Dr. McMillan will begin his presidency at TCAT Elizabethton on July 1st of 2024. Madam Chair, this concludes my recommendation.
Thank you for an excellent recommendation. Do we have a motion to approve the selection of Dr. McMillan for TCAT Elizabethton?
So moved.
I'd be honored to make that motion.
Excellent, excellent. And a second. Thank you for Regent Varlin. Thank you, Regent Burdine. Any discussion? Let's make it official.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
A very reluctant aye.
Regent Varlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
President McMillan, come back up here. He will always be an honorary West Tennessean, right, Kyle? That's right, that's right. Congratulations. You are headed home, my friend.
Thank you. Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor Tidings, members of the board, just going to start with saying I'm grateful for you guys giving me the opportunity to go back home. But just as thankful as I am to be going home, I'm equally as thankful for the opportunity to have been here in West Tennessee and to work with such a fantastic project and amazing people here. To the faculty and staff and leadership team at TCAT Jackson, I'm not sure I could put into words just how thankful I am to have been able to serve alongside you for the past 2 years. You've taught me, you supported me, you laughed with me, you laughed at me. Sometimes you disagreed with me, but most importantly, over the past 2 years, I believe we've served the students and community well. Regent Spurgeon, thank you for your leadership in this community, for quickly making my wife and I feel at home and be a part of the Jackson community, and most importantly, for your friendship. So TCAT Elizabethton in Northeast Tennessee, I want to thank Dr. Hicks for his leadership and his friendship over the past 2 years. Every board meeting, I've always told him he got my dream job, so take care of it. And he has. I'm honored that the board has the confidence in me to continue the work at TCAT Elizabethton, so I greatly appreciate that. I look forward to working with the faculty and staff there in the community to serve those students just as I have here in West Tennessee. Again, thank you for this opportunity, and I look forward to the great things that continue to happen in West Tennessee and seeing what happens after I leave. And I look forward to being part of what's going on in Northeast Tennessee. So thank you.
Thank you. Well done. You are literally going some distance, but you are staying within the family. So that's hugely helpful. And what a pivotal time you have been here. So Regent Spurgeon?
I'd love to say something. I
Please.
just, Regent Burdine, I know you're at home, but I guess turnabout is fair play. You called me a couple of years ago and said, you got my guy now. He's coming down, and just bragged about someone named Heath McMillan, whom I had never met. And we were very fortunate to have you here 2 years. Certainly, yeah, we hoped it'd be a little bit longer, but to tell you about this man's character, he called me to tell me he was leaving, and he was just not upset, but he was very apologetic. And that I feel like I'm leaving you guys behind. I said, Heath, you're going home. And that is certainly understandable. He and his wife came here and got very involved in this community very quickly. And yeah, we hate to see him go, but I am equally as happy that he is able to go back home. And yes, you are a eternal West Tennessean. You're a lifelong resident now, and you come back absolutely anytime that you want to. So we're proud of the 2 years that we had for you and Michelle here, and you are leaving behind a great legacy.
Beautifully said. Thank you very much. Congratulations. So we create a domino effect with this move. Chancellor, I think you've got some search criteria for us to consider.
Absolutely. As you have all surmised by now, this takes us to the next step of approving the search criteria for the next president of TCAT Jackson. The search criteria was provided in your materials prior to today's meeting, and the criteria is the standard used for all TCAT president searches. The only difference is that it was modified with specific information regarding the college. Upon approval, the position will be posted and the recruitment process will begin.
Thank you very much. So we have before us the search criteria for the next president of TCAT Jackson. We do need a motion to approve. Regent Spurgeon?
So moved.
Thank you, sir. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent Powers. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Mariah, you're up.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds. Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Varlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. And just so you know, while dates and so forth are still being worked out, Regent Spurgeon has agreed to chair this important search, and he'll be assisted by Regent George, Regent Powers, and Regent Robert. So we look forward to hearing more along the way. Thank you all. And with that, Regent Reed, Vice Chancellor Reed, come back up here.
All right, thank you again. We're going to be going over TCAT program approvals, and if you all don't mind, I'm going to cluster these together just to streamline the presentation a bit for you.
Sure.
For the sake of time. So per board policy on technical college program review and approval, We want to give an update on where we are on board action for TCAT programs. The Council on Occupational Education requires documentation from the governing agency for approval of her programs. Today, I'm going to be presenting in a streamlined version 27 program proposals for you and 53 program modifications for your review and approval. We're going to start with implementations of new programs. We're going to start here with TCAT Crump. They have 3 new programs around building construction, earth moving equipment operating, and patient care technology and medical assistant. TCAT Hartsville is bringing on building construction as a dual enrollment program. We also see TCAT Henry McCarroll bringing on telecommunications. We have TCAT Jackson bringing on culinary essentials, dual enrollment in 3 high schools that are listed in your materials, as well as bringing on to their Stanton Extension, the EV electric production program. Next we see is a new program. TCAT Livingston is bringing on 2 new programs in diesel powered equipment, as well as telecommunications technology. And then we have TCAT McMinnville bringing on to 2 of their campuses the advanced manufacturing technician program. We also have TCAT Memphis bringing on central sterile processing technology. And then we have TCAT Murfreesboro bringing on 3 programs. The heat and ventilation, air conditioner, refrigeration, industrial electrician, as well as telecommunications as well. We also have TCAT Nashville bringing on to 3 different campuses, the computer operation systems, network, and the cybersecurity program. And then TCAT Oneida, because they're ambitious, are going to bring on 4 new programs all at once. We have telecommunications and underground utility construction technology, as well as earth moving, allied health, and medical assistant programs. We've got TCAT Shelbyville bringing on to 2 different campuses their advanced manufacturing. And then we're going to have some replication of programs that are already in existence. TCAT Jackson, because Heath is going out with a bang, he's going to replicate several programs. He is bringing over the industrial maintenance integrated automation program, the welding program, the existing tool and die program. All of those are going to be replicated over at the Stanton campus, as well as the automotive technology program. TCAT Knoxville, let me get over there. They're going to replicate their surgical technology program, and TCAT Northwest is going to replicate 2 of their programs, industrial maintenance, as well as their welding program. TCAT Oneida is going to replicate their truck driving program because that is an award-winning program. They want to make sure that it is worthy of that award that just got announced. So we're looking forward to what they're going to do. To meet these requirements for COE, again, I want to highlight that those 53 program modifications that have also in your materials were approved in my office because they were just minor modifications. Ultimately, these are all the proposals that will allow our TCATs to be responsive to industry and to students, and those are being presented now for action for the board.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Any questions or comments? Yes, sir.
What's your favorite joke?
That requires a partnership with Mott Lowe's new program. I'll leave it there. The new distilling program.
Yes. Oh, Dr. Reed. So I would propose to you guys, these are also non-controversial routine, a routine nature. I would propose that we adopt these by unanimous consent, but if anyone would like another roll call vote, please feel free to object. Hearing no objections, these have our blessing. So these programs are passed, and it's good to see things getting done at Stanton. That's very exciting. Right. Thank you, Dr. Reed. I think you have 1 more. 2 more. All right, thank you.
Next at this time, we're going to be talking about promotion and tenure at the TCATs. The committee is being asked to look at recommendations for granting promotion and tenure to eligible faculty at our TCATs. All documentations for what I'm going to highlight are in your materials. The recommendations and supporting documents were submitted by the TCAT presidents and have been certified by them as having been processed through the approved institutional procedures. They have also been reviewed by the board staff and as well as academic affairs and are endorsed for favorable consideration. A summary of those tabulations regarding promotion and tenure recommendations for each center has been prepared. From the 751 eligible faculty, we're recommending that 65 faculty receiving promotions are supported, and that represents 8.7% of the TCAT instructional staff. There's one faculty member who's receiving promotion, represents less than 1% of TCAT instructional faculty. All of these are also broke up into the different categories. That's 37 faculty going to the instructor rank, 20 to senior instructor, 4 to master instructor, and 4 to master instructor 2. For tenure, with approval of these, the total tenure for faculty at the TCAT will be a total of 4%. Again, this is a summary of all the TCAT recommendations that have been reviewed by staff and being recommended for action to the board today.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. And I've just been advised, since the next one is promotion and tenure recommendations at the community colleges, we can take this in one vote. So if you would proceed, that would be great.
I sure will. Thank you. The board is being asked to act on recommendations for granting tenure and promotion to eligible faculty members at the community colleges. These recommendations adhere to the TBR policies on tenure and promotion for these community colleges. Community college presidents have submitted these recommendations with supporting materials and have certified that approved campus policies and procedures were followed in each case. TBR staff review has indicated that institutions have consistently applied board and institutional personnel policies about these decisions. Over the past 5 years, there have been no unusual increases or decreases in the promotion or tenure recommendation percentages. I want to also take a moment to highlight this process for how these recommendations come from the colleges up to the board today. Again, there is a significant length of time and review that goes into a recommendation that's made ultimately by the president to the board for promotion and tenure for faculty. There are numerous checks and balances in this process that occurs over a course of about 9 to up to 15 months. And it's a recommendation that is made with considerable deliberation throughout the process, which begins at the department level with the faculty member collecting different types of artifacts, reflecting their service, their scholarship, and their teaching that would apply to promotion and tenure. That's reviewed by their peers and ultimately a campus-wide committee before it's then reviewed by the dean, the chief academic officer, and the president before it comes to the board for consideration. At each step of the way, there's an appeals process. So this is a recommendation that comes before you today that has had about a year of runway of time leading it through a very strenuous process with a lot of deliberation and checks and balances along the way. Table 1 summarizes the impact of tenure recommendations at each community colleges. Observations summarized in this information, the tables include the following. There are 89 faculty members being recommended for tenure. This is an increase from the previous year of 66 recommendations for tenure. This change represents a system-wide increase of 4.2% over a 5-year average, which does not signify a significant trend or notable change. The percentage of tenured faculty in 2024-25 is projected to range from 33% at Nashville State to 84% at Rome State. The tenured faculty percentages increased at 6 community colleges, decreased at 4, and remains the same at 3 over a 5-year moving average. Staff analysis note no unusual deviations. There was one recommendation for tenure by appointment by Cleveland State that you'll see in your materials. For promotion, if you look at table 2 on the same slide, you will see there are 168 faculty members are recommended for promotion during the same time period. The number of promotions increased by 12 from last year. The 4-year average is about 190, and this increase is within control limits over 10 years and no deviations from normal noted through the analysis. The total number of community college faculty recommended for promotion ranges from 4 at Jackson State to 21 at Volunteer State, and this range is really typical of the process. The TBR Academic Affairs staff recommends approval of all of these, as well as one recommendation for promotion by exemption from Cleveland State Community College. And again, supporting materials are in your documents. Out of the 1,811 eligible faculty members, the presidents are recommending the 168 for promotion. We are also recommending tenure for those 89 faculty members. And again, overall for community college, 52% of all full-time faculty are tenured. This chart to the right just provides you a visual representation of the composition of our faculty and their different ranks across the system, from instructor, assistant, associate to professor, showcasing really the breadth and expertise of our faculty members. Madam Chair, this is a summary of all the recommendations, again, which have been reviewed by staff and been presented for action to the board.
Thank you, and thanks for the reminder of what a robust process this is to get us here today. Any questions for Dr. Reed on these promotion and tenure recommendations? If not, we do need a motion to approve for both the TCATs and the community colleges.
I made that motion.
Regent Apple, thank you very much. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent Pilkerton. Any further discussion? If not, Mariah, please call the roll.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten. Aye. Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Varlin. Aye. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Dr. Reed.
Thank you.
Dr. Fox is up next, and with promotions comes some faculty increases as well. So we'll begin with that item from you.
All right. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, Chancellor, and members of the board. Before you now for consideration are the salary increases that go along with the faculty promotions that were just presented to you by Dr. Reed. You should have the details of those increases in the materials that were provided in advance of this meeting. In summary, the community college increases total $457,187 for the 166 promotions. The TCAT increases total $615,580 for the 65 promotions. TBR staff has verified the proposed ranks of the individuals submitted for promotion by the institutions and ensured a corresponding increase for those that were eligible. Madam Chair, TBR staff recommends approval of the promotional increases for the 166 community college faculty and 65 TCAT faculty. If there are specific questions, I'll be happy to address those.
Thank you. Anything for Dr. Fox? And if not, we need a motion to approve. So moved. Thank you, Regent Varlin. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent White. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Secretary Perry.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten. Aye. Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill. Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Varlin. Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. So we had a discussion around compensation at our previous meeting, and we're going to pick up from there on some institutional requests.
Correct. Yes, so as you'll recall at the May 29th special called meeting of the Personnel and Compensation Committee, as recommended in the governor's state budget proposal, you authorized compensation strategies that included the creation of a 3% salary pool to be used for employee increases effective July 1, 2024. TBR staff recommended and the committee approved a required 2% across the board for the colleges, with the flexibility of the additional 1% to be used in the following ways. An additional across the board increase to assist in funding their compensation plan, to assist in funding faculty promotions, or some combination of those three. For those colleges providing the full amount as an across the board increase, no further action was required on their part. For the colleges requesting to use some or all of the state funding for compensation plan or faculty promotions, they've submitted those proposals to the system office for review and approval. Staff have received and evaluated compensation salary increase proposals from 2 institutions as outlined in your materials. Those institutions are Jackson State and Southwest. As reflected in your materials, both colleges propose to use their additional 1% to pay towards their compensation plan. Staff is recommending the board's approval of these compensation increases as outlined. And if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer those.
Questions? Hearing none, I'm looking at our personnel chair for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you, ma'am. A second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Regent Pilkington. Any further discussion? Hearing none, once again, thanks, Mariah.
Regent Apple. Aye. Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten. Aye. Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill. Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Barlin. Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. Dr. Fox, let's talk some budgets.
Yeah, I apologize. I'm up here for a while. This one's a little longer than the other two. But the only item here on the finance agenda is the routine review and consideration of approval of funding for operations for the FY23-24 estimated budget and the FY24-25 proposed budget. The supplementary documents were included in your meeting materials in advance of today's meeting. In the interest of time, I'm not going to read every data point on the following slides to you, but I will highlight some key points as we move through this. Even just highlighting the key points, it does take a little while, but I'll try to go as quickly as possible and be happy to answer questions. But before we dive into the budget information, I do want to briefly review, next slide. The budget process. So working within the individual institution's shared governance process, each president has the responsibility and full authority to propose a budget to the chancellor and to the board. The colleges generally receive the draft operating state appropriation amount recommended for their institution and the governor's budget proposal in the spring each year. The recommendation in the governor's budget is normally calculated based on the THEC funding formula outcomes, supported with a recommendation from THEC. Colleges use this information as well as make some calculated assumptions to then submit their budgets to the system office in early May. Since THEC has not set the binding tuition range at that point, campuses do not have upcoming tuition information until after the proposed budget is developed and submitted. This is where those assumptions come into play. Assumptions made generally include any changes to enrollment, workforce development activity, and/or grant activity. Colleges follow their own internal processes for budget development. This will often include input and requests from budget department heads on campuses, budget hearings with campus leadership, and will conclude with decisions by campus leadership that reflect the priorities of their institution. This process normally starts in January and February and concludes with the college's budget submittal to the TBR system office in early May. TBR staff then review and consolidate the budget information and present it to the board, as I'm doing today. After board approval, the budget information is forwarded to the THEC as well as Finance and Administration. Now on to the numbers. In our budget trainings, this is what I would call the audience participation portion, and I would ask, how many operational budgets do our colleges submit annually? Spoiler alert, the answer is 3. We prepare 3 budgets each year. These budgets include the proposed or May original budget, the revised or October budget, and the current estimated budget. Don't worry if you weren't sure of the answer. It was a bit of a trick question because we prepare the estimated and proposed at the same time. Next slide, please. So today I'm presenting 2 of those 3 budgets for your action. We have the estimated current budget for 23-24, as well as the proposed budget for 24-25. The estimated budget is the last budget for the current fiscal year. It includes the final adjustments to the current year budget and is the budget against which final year-end actual amounts are compared. The proposed budget is based on the level of state funds recommended in the governor's budget, as well as early estimates of factors such as enrollment growth and availability of federal funds. The proposed budget does not recognize factors such as tuition increases, level of grant or revenue contract activity, or final adjustments required by the state budget. The revised October budget is presented to the board in December and will take these and other changes into account. Next slide, please. As we get into the slides on budget, I thought it might be helpful to provide a brief overview of revenue and expense categories, or where the money comes from and what it pays for. This slide shows the source and percent of total revenue the system receives by category, as well as the types of expenses paid using these funds. Not surprisingly, you can see the majority of revenue at 64% comes from tuition, fees, and state appropriation. 31% of our funding comes from restricted revenues, which can briefly be described as restricted for a specific purpose or use. In this case of revenue, this may be federal or state grants, federal or state financial aid to students, endowment income, or private gifts. 5% comes from sales, service, and other, briefly described as workforce development activities, specialized testing and assessments, investment income, etc. And finally, 1% comes from auxiliary, which is typically food service, and bookstore operations. These all go toward funding expenses in categories such as, spoiler alert, instruction and teaching, which is the number one expense that these go towards, as well as academic support services such as library services, student services such as tutors, success coaches, mentors, admissions and recruiting staff, institutional support, which is the administration and operational services of the college, and then plant operations, including maintenance, janitorial, grounds, construction. The following slides will provide a high-level summary comparing the FY 24-25 proposed budget to the current year 23-24 estimated budget and any differences between the two. Next slide, please. As I noted earlier, I'm not going to read you all the information on these slides because it is a lot. It's a lot of numbers, but I will highlight some of the notable changes on each slide. As a general rule, TBR staff considers a 10% change in either direction as our established threshold, and we do not require colleges to provide detailed explanations for those changes. The first slide we will review shows a comparison of the current year FY24 estimated revenue versus the proposed FY25 revenue, showing the year-over-year change. Press pause on that state appropriation line, as those will be covered on the next slide. Under other fees, you will note the 13% change from estimated to proposed. This is due to the reinstatement of the online course fee for FY25. As noted previously, colleges do not have enrollment numbers at this time, so this reflects one of the assumptions that we talked about earlier. Sales, service, and other includes things like unrestricted state, local, and private gifts, live work, testing fees, facility rentals, etc. This category is also where CARES and HERF lost revenue is recorded. The decrease seen here is due to the recording of lost revenue. You will recall that the availability of these funds decreased over the past year, and they are expected to conclude in the current year, thus explaining the reduction for FY25. Next slide, please. The previous slide noted that state appropriations remained relatively flat when comparing 24 estimated to 25 proposed. This slide shows the reconciliation of those appropriations, including a reduction for the prior year non-recurring initiatives and the additions for the upcoming year for a partial salary pool of 3%, group insurance, new initiatives, and funding and improvement outcomes growth. The initiatives funded reflect the state's commitment to fund TCAT Stanton operation for a fixed period of time. Next slide, please. Slide 6 shows expenditures by function. The 12% decrease shown in public service is attributed to the type of activities not being budgeted until contracts are completed. So these are conservative estimates for FY25. You will note modest total growth in expenditures of 2%, which does include a 3% salary pool increase. Next slide, please. Slide 8 shows expenditures by classification. This is again showing you an overall increase of expenditures of 2%, with the higher end being in the salary and benefit class and the capital outlay. The salary and benefits increase is primarily due to the 3% salary pool increase recommended from the state for FY25, and also FY24 vacant positions or positions only filled for a portion of the year being budgeted at the full amount in FY25. In addition, the salary pool funds have been included related to the potential FLSA overtime rule that we talked about at the May 29th special called session. The decrease in capital outlay is attributed to 3 community colleges and 1 TCAT who made one-time equipment purchases in FY24 that are not expected in FY25. Next slide. This slide shows a summary that includes unrestricted and restricted fund expenditures and transfers. A 6% overall decrease in expenditure is reflected when restricted funds are included. Transfers also decreased significantly for proposed, and we'll discuss that on the next slide. Total expenditures for unrestricted and restricted for FY25 is roughly $1.4 billion, down 91.2 from the current year. Next slide, please. This slide breaks down the transfer activity or the transfer of carryover funds from the previous fiscal year. These are non-recurring funds. Normally, these carryover funds are budgeted as a transfer to plant funds in October or April for non-recurring investment in physical plant and equipment. Under retirement of indebtedness, this is due to debt retirement of $286,000 at Walter State for a Greene County expansion project. Under unexpended and renewal and replacement, large transfers to unexpended plant and renewal and replacement funds in the estimated budget were made to increase reserves as a hedge against further enrollment decline as well as economic uncertainty. Transfers to reserve are common and expected of our colleges for fiscal responsibility. The higher the normal amounts in the current year can be attributed to the CARES and HERF funds, which are ending in FY24 and are expected to standardize in the upcoming year. Next slide, please. This chart shows a change in beginning fund balance to ending fund balance. The overall net change is shown as $16.5 million, but is primarily attributed to institutions budgeting to transfer those carryover funds to plant funds for future equipment and capital outlay needs. When we look strictly at revenue versus expense, excluding the transfers, the colleges show a positive net change of approximately $11.7 million. Next slide, please. This slide summarizes the total number and type of authorized positions for FY25. With the approval of this budget, the board will be authorizing a grand total positions for the system office of 7,128, an increase of 135 positions or 2% as compared to FY24. You may note the fact that the community college and system office percent of unrestricted positions versus restricted positions is more varied at the TCATs. This is a result of the special initiative state appropriation funding received over the past several years for TCAT projects, including waitlist capacity, correctional officers training, and CDL, which most often include funding for faculty positions that would be restricted for this purpose or program. The total number of unrestricted positions for the upcoming FY25 year is 6,503, and the number of restricted positions is 625. Again, the restricted positions are tied to special appropriation or grant funding designated for a specific purpose. Next slide, please. This slide provides a final summary for the FY24 and 25 proposed budgets that are before you today for approval. However, before we ask for your final approval, we need to include some information related to the locally governed institutions or the LGI budgets. As you are aware, these are the 6 public universities that are not part of the UT system. Next slide, please. As you will recall, under the Focus Act, we're required to consider the LGI budgets, and that consideration is limited to those matters that are necessary to fulfill existing debt covenants, representations, agreements, and obligations under financing agreements entered into with the Tennessee State School Bond Authority. Next slide, please. To that end, university budgets have been received and reviewed in accordance with TBR Policy 4.01.00.05, consideration of university budgets, and have been determined to meet debt service coverage requirements, have been found to be mathematically correct and internally consistent, and universities have certified compliance with required representations, and except as noted, no judgments have been made regarding university budgets. Vice Chair, university budgets are recommended for approval and being in compliance with the above TBR policy. Additionally, staff recommends approval of the FY23-24 estimated budget and the FY24-25 proposed budget for the TBR system office as presented, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
We have Dr. Fox's recommendations. Any questions for her this afternoon? It's a lot to take in, I know. Hearing none, since this involves money, we do need a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion, but if anybody asks me any questions at the cocktail party, Alicia has to be standing next to me.
Absolutely. But you're the finance chair.
She still has to be standing next to me.
Okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Regent Powers. Oh, thank you all. Any further discussion? If not, once again, we do need a roll call vote.
Regent Aye. Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten. Aye. Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Barlin. Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all very much. So we have now reached what is always, oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
No, pardon me.
If I may, can I provide one last bit of information for the group? Chancellor Tidings asked me to share just a
Yes.
little bit from the business and office.
Of
And this is informational, not required for any voting or anything like that, but I did want to share it with the group. So thank you for indulging me
No,
for just
thank
a
you.
second while I share some information.
Sorry, I did not look back up. My apologies.
So I just wanted to share some information that the Office of Business and Finance has been doing at the system office. And we don't share a lot of updates about what's going on in our office other than the informational things that we provide you that are customary you have to vote on. But just to let you know a little bit about what's been going on in our world. So beginning in 2023, we formed an internal review team that we expanded in 2024 to include our great partners over here at THEC as well as State Audit to really evaluate all of our processes and procedures related to budget submissions and financial statement submissions and preparation and kind of the work that we do in that area. So the goal of that being to increase efficiency and then standardization of our data. While this work is ongoing, we're pleased to share some results of that work with you today. I apologize, I don't have any fun charts for you, but I'll be happy to, I'll share it out with you. But review of our budget process eliminated or combined 9 of the 32 required forms for a 28% reduction in required submittals of our budget process that we submit to the state. The review of our financial statement processes eliminated 19 of the 39 required supplementary forms for a 51% reduction in the required submittals. In addition, 10 of the 20 remaining required financial statement submittals moved to the October budget submission, meaning the financial statement submittal requirement reduced by 74% in total, which I'm pretty excited about. Our schools are really excited about. State Audit is really excited about. And before you ask about how this impacted the workload for the October budgets, I will let you know it was very minimal because we were able to add a simple addition of just another column on analysis forms that we were already collecting. So no additional work really there for our schools related to that, just reduction in the number of hours that people were spending on this, hours people were using to review the process, and we're giving everybody consistent information, so excited to share that. But also part of this work, we developed and implemented training around these topics, so budgets, financial statements, CFI, financial performance, beginning in spring 2023, and since that time, we've offered 44 hours of training to 416 employees, including college senior leadership teams, internal auditors, and business and finance personnel at the community colleges, TCATs, and the system office. And in addition, the system office was approved to award CPE, or continuing professional education credits, for our trainings that we started offering in 2024. So for those trainings that we've offered just in 2024 alone, so we're 6 months into the year, but we have awarded 300 CPE hours to 38 employees to date. So as I said, this work's ongoing with more improvements on the horizon as we continue to partner with THEC and State Audit on ways to improve our processes. I know this is not the most exciting work, but I want to thank my team and our partners for their efforts, and I appreciate you providing me the opportunity to share this today.
Thank you, Chancellor.
Well, as you can tell, I'm very proud of the work they're doing, and that's why I wanted Alicia to share that with you. But the other thing that I want to share is that we also got the results of our audit, our state audit last week, and we had 0 findings. So cannot say enough good things.
Dr. Fox, thank you for all the creativity you have brought to this job. We're just grateful to have you on the team. And in fact, on the training matter, who are we chatting with in the ladies' room before we started the meeting who was so complimentary? It was one of the Jackson State teams, so complimentary of that.
Yes.
So, so that was nice to hear in person. So well done, well done. Well, as I started to say, before we got the rest of Dr. Fox's good report, we now enter what for me is always kind of a bittersweet part of the meeting as we bid a fond farewell to team members, but who will always be part of our TBR family. And we'll begin this afternoon with a resolution of appreciation for President Willie Huffman. Regent Powers, would you do the honors?
Absolutely. Thank you,
Thank
Chair
you.
Lady. So this is a resolution of appreciation for the service of Mr. Willie Huffman to the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas Mr. Willie Huffman has 36 years of service with the Tennessee Board of Regents, first with the State Area Vocational Technical School, later known as the Tennessee College of Applied Technology at McKinsey, where he served for 12 years in the Office of Student Services. In 2000, he joined the Tennessee Technology Center at Paris as the Student Services Coordinator. In 2007, he advanced to the role of Vice President before being appointed in 2021 as President of TCAT's Paris and McKinsey, concurrently, later named TCAT Henry Carroll. He will retire, sadly, on June 30, 2024, after serving 3 years as President. Whereas Mr. Huffman received a Master of Professional Studies in Strategic Leadership from Austin Peay State University and a Bachelor of Science from Bethel University. Bethel University is probably how you say it in the South. Whereas he is a graduate of the TBR Technology Center Leadership Program, the Maxine Smith Fellows Program, Leadership Carroll County and Henry County, and the West Star Leadership Program. And whereas, as part of his Maxine Smith Fellowship, Mr. Huffman developed the guidelines for the statewide Outstanding Student of the Year program, which was initiated in 2008. And whereas Mr. Huffman has expanded the reach of both the Henry and Carroll County campuses by increasing the number of dual enrollment students served by implementing programs on high school campuses throughout both colleges service areas, as well as implementing specialized training opportunities for industry partners. And whereas he has served his home city and county in elected positions spanning multiple terms on both the McKinsey City Council and Carroll County Commission, and whereas throughout his career, Mr. Huffman has selflessly and tirelessly contributed to community and workforce development efforts by appointments as a board member throughout the service area, including multiple roles on the Carroll County 911 Board, the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce Board, the Paris-Henry County Chamber of Commerce Board, the Northwest Tennessee Workforce Board, the McKinsey Board of Zoning Appeals, the McKinsey Housing Authority Board, the Henry County Vocational Rehabilitation Board, and the Benton County Vocational Rehabilitation Board. And whereas he shall be missed by colleagues, faculty, staff, students, community leaders, and alumni of the Tennessee Board of Regents and its colleges, and now therefore be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents express its sincere appreciation to Mr. Willie Huffman for his contributions and leadership to the system and wishes him the very best in his retirement.
Beautifully done. Are you offering that as a motion?
Yes, I move that
Thank
as a
you
motion.
very
Thank
much.
you.
We have a motion, a second from Regent Varlin. Thank you. Any discussion, comments? With that, let's take the vote.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Varlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
President Huffman, congratulations. Come down here and talk to us.
You know, it seems like some things never change. I've seen always follow money. So, thank you, Vice Chair Reynolds, Chancellor Tidings, members of the board. Wow. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity to express my sincere appreciation for allowing me to serve as the president of TCAT Henry Carroll and TCAT McKenzie. First of all, I would like to say, it's not about me, but it's about the students we serve and how we change their lives. I never imagined I would be standing here before this group, retiring as the president of a TCAT. I never thought about working in education, but God had a different plan for mine, and we know who won out. I started as a financial aid counselor, as well as helped do career college nights, conduct tours, etc. We all wore multiple hats then, as we still do today. I have seen numerous changes in our system since I was first employed 36 years ago. I can remember students lining up outside our student records clerk's office to get a tuition slip to take to the business office to register for class. I can also remember they had to line up and show identification to receive their financial aid refunds. A major change I've seen take place is how technical colleges are now being recognized and invited to the table. When I first started, you had to ask to be invited to a career fair or college night. And then if you were allowed to attend, you were usually stuck in a corner where there was not a lot of traffic. Now we have tables up front and center, and often are the main attraction. In my early years, high school counselors did not promote going to vocational school, as it was called then, unless they thought you were not college material. I think one of the reasons for that was counselors just did not know what we do. Now counselors encourage their own children to go to a technical school because of the career opportunities out there and the kind of money they can make, not to mention graduating with no debt. We now have classes in high schools for students to get an early start on a technical career. Other states are now envious of Tennessee for our successes. You know, for a long time, we were considered the best kept secret in Tennessee. Another major change that has been the amount of funding we have to operate schools. Every time I see someone's surplus property come across email, I think back to how schools would try to beat each other to get someone else's used equipment if they thought it was better than what they already had. We now have money to purchase up-to-date equipment to train our students. We now even are being funded to renovate and build new buildings. Thank you, Chancellor Tidings, for all the hard work you and your team has done and continue to do to make these type of opportunities happen. I have been truly blessed to have been able to work in technical education, to not only have changed the lives of others, but it has allowed me the opportunity to support my family and put 2 children through college. I would like to thank my wife, Gloria, whom is with me, who she has been by my side through this journey. She has always been there to give me her support when I needed it. I grew up with older parents that were born pre-Depression years. So they were unable to finish high school. And all they were able to do was just hard manual type labor jobs. I grew up in a small town of less than 1,000 people. I think my parents would be proud of what I have accomplished. I am the only one of my siblings to have graduated from college. It does my heart good when I'm in a store and someone comes up to me and thanks me for helping them while they were a student and tells me how it changed their life. My wife and I were in a restaurant about a month ago, and a former student from probably 30 years ago came up to say hello. My philosophy has always been to treat people how I want to be treated. I hope I have always done that. I have always told students, you're on an interview every day of your life. You never know who may be able to help you someday. As I look back on some things that have happened in my life, I know it was God working his plan that he had for me, and it involved working in technical education. I have truly enjoyed my career in technical education. I've had 2 wonderful staffs on both campuses, and I can't imagine having done anything else. One of my former bosses always said, when he had 3 bad days in a row, he would retire. Well, unfortunately, he passed away and didn't get to retire. Well, I haven't had 3 bad days in a row, but it's time for me to close this chapter in my life, and I want to thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, President Huffman.
You're killing us.
Oh, that was so beautifully done. And Gloria, we thank you as well for your many contributions. You have set a tone of inspiration and such care and commitment. Thank you. And I can't imagine you will ever have 3 bad days in your life. With that attitude, you're just such a positive presence. We are so grateful. Chancellor?
Thank you. And President Huffman, you are absolutely been a blessing to us. I knew when President White gave me his notice and told me he was going to retire that there was no better person to take that job than you. I know we had to go through the process, and you did, and I just knew in my heart you were going to be the right person for that job, and you have been. You've done an amazing job while you're there. You led that college through a merger, which those of you that have never done that before don't know that I think he probably really did have 3 bad days in a row, but he would never tell any of us. You did it with such grace and with such dignity and with such enthusiasm. The communities have come together, the colleges have come together, and they are all better for your efforts that you've put forward. We truly are grateful for all that you have done to make this system so good, and the thousands of students whose lives you have touched are so much better. When I told him that our new president coming in, Mayor Ridgway, would not be able to start until July 1st, I called him and I said, let's talk through, what I'm going to do for an interim, and he just very quickly said, that's all right, I'll just wait. So he did, and so he's not leaving till the end of the month because our new president can't start till July 1st, but that's just the type of man you are. Thank you.
Thank you both. That was very touching. We now have a resolution of appreciation for our faculty regent, Vanessa Pilkington, and Regent Ross Roberts will provide that for us.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. I have here a resolution of appreciation for the service of Miss Vanessa Pilkington as faculty regent to the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas the Tennessee Board of Regents in regular session on June 13, 2024 wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Miss Vanessa Pilkington for her service as faculty regent. And whereas she was appointed by Governor Bill Lee to serve as faculty regent from 2023 to 2024. And whereas Ms. Pilkington is a lifelong Tennessean and serves as the senior dental assisting instructor at TCAT Jackson, serving nearly 20 years at the college and over 30 years in the dental field. She holds an associate's degree in business and a dental assisting diploma, both from Nashville State Community College. She is a certified dental assistant and has also completed additional training to show her dedication to the dental profession. And whereas Ms. Pilkington demonstrates her leadership through involvement with organizations like Heartland Dental and Hope Smiles, where she volunteers to provide free dental services to the local community, as well as the American Cancer Society, where she has previously served as team leader for Relay for Life and team fundraising coordinator. Ms. Pilkington has also served on several committees, including Skills USA, as chair of the Dental Assisting Competition, advisor for Dental Assisting, and as Dental Assisting Fundraising Coordinator, chair of the TBR Faculty Sick Leave Bank, and others within her college and the TBR system. And whereas she has fulfilled her responsibilities on the board in an exemplary manner by contributing to the governance of the institutions within the board's purview, and by voicing the perspectives and insights of faculty for educational quality. And whereas Ms. Pilkington has provided leadership, guidance, and expertise to the board in the areas of academic tenure, articulation, and student life, and has represented her colleagues and students with unwavering and distinguished service. And, terrible typo, sorry. And whereas she has actively devoted her time and attention to deliberations within the committees on workforce development and academic policies and programs and student life, where she brought invaluable insight from the campus level. And whereas Ms. Pilkington faithfully dedicated time and energy to serve on the presidential advisory committees for Tennessee Colleges of Applied Technology at Dixon and Henry Carroll. And whereas she is an individual of high integrity and wisdom with a sincere interest in the welfare of the college system of Tennessee and the Tennessee higher education in general. And now, therefore it be resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation to Ms. Vanessa Pilkington for her dedication and contributions to the board and its institutions, and extends best wishes to her in all her future pursuits. I'd like to offer that as a motion.
Thank you very much, Regent Roberts. Since you are about to become a voting regent on July 1, I'm going to need another motion to approve.
So moved.
Thank you. And a second. Regent Apple, thank you. You have been, I'm not going to do that yet. We got to vote. So excited to talk to Vanessa. I know. We have two motions and a second. Any discussion before? Let's take the vote and then we'll come back.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten. Aye. Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington. Regent Powers. Yeah, I guess you can. Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds. Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Barlin. Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Indeed it does. We are so grateful to you. The year has gone much too fast. You've just been such a bright light, and everything we've asked you to do on search committees, and the Chancellor said other things, you have jumped in and just experienced this to the fullest. Thank you. So we know you will continue to stay engaged, given everything you've already done for and with the system. So thank you. Chancellor?
Well, absolutely, you have jumped in and helped us on so many things. There were a lot of issues that arose this year with regard to dental assisting and different things with faculty that we've had to deal with, that at the system office, whenever we were talking about something with TCAT, we started saying, well, have you called Vanessa yet? So she has been invaluable to us, and just because you're rolling off the board, we have not lost your number. So thank you for everything you've done, and you also hold one of the distinct pleasures of being one of our board members that had to be affirmed by the legislature. So you've got a very distinct.
I am forever a stronger woman because of that. Absolutely.
The floor is yours.
Thank you all so much. I've been very honored to serve on this board. I appreciate it so much. I tell you that I have been with the TCAT system now, for almost 20 years. And this past year has opened my eyes to so many things
as an instructor at a TCAT, you are following the TBR policies, you are following the rules, you're following the budgets, you're following all of these things, but you do not recognize the brilliant minds and work and effort that all of these people in this system put into making this such a well-oiled machine. And I've never been so honored in my life to be part of something like this. And I guess I can't have like a toddler tantrum and just beg to stay, But I appreciate it so much, and I'm very honored. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you. We will miss you. That's the truth. We've had such a great string of faculty regents, and you each bring your own depth and breadth of experience. We thank you. And as Chancellor said, we know how to find you. Okay. At this time, we have a resolution of appreciation for our student regent, Leah Garten, and Regent White. May I call on you?
Yes, it's my honor. It's my honor to offer this resolution of appreciation for the service of Miss Leah Garten as student regent to the Tennessee Board of Regents. Whereas the Tennessee Board of Regents in regular session on June 13, 2024, wishes to express its sincere appreciation to Miss Leah Garten for her dedicated and valuable service as student regent. And whereas Ms. Garten was appointed by Governor Bill Lee to serve as student regent for the 2023-2024 academic year, and whereas she was a diligent student and leader at Tennessee of Applied Technology, Nashville, where she excelled in a number of academic and leadership activities prior to earning her diesel-powered equipment technology diploma, and whereas in her role as student regent, she represented the interests, concerns, and voices of more than 100,000 students across the college system of Tennessee. While persevering as a student herself, she took her representative role seriously, advocating on behalf of her fellow students' needs. She also participated in various student leadership meetings hosted by the Student Government President's Council, along with the Skills USA State Leadership and Skills Conference and the Tennessee Leadership Training Institute. And whereas she has used her experiences and unique perspective to devote her time and effort as a member of the Committee on Workforce Development, and whereas during her tenure with the board, Ms. Garten fulfilled her responsibilities through active and eager participation in board deliberations and contributed greatly to the governance of the system, and whereas she faithfully dedicated herself to the community and technical college system by serving on the Presidential Search Advisory Committee for Volunteer State Community College, and whereas Ms. Garten is an individual of high integrity and wisdom with a sincere interest in the welfare of the college system of Tennessee and Tennessee higher education. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Tennessee Board of Regents expresses its sincere appreciation to Ms. Leah Garten for her dedication and many contributions to the board and its institution, and wishes her all the best in her future endeavors. And it is with my personal admiration and appreciation that I offer this resolution.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you very much, Regent Powers. Roll call vote, please, ma'am.
Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Madam Chair Reynolds.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Varlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
You too have just been a bright light since you arrived, and once again, just jumping into everything feet first. Mariah says you're one of the most active student regents we've ever had, as when we chatted about this the other day. So thank you. It is hard to represent over 100,000 students, and you have done it. You have done it well and with much grace and dignity. So thank you, Leah.
So I'd like to say something too. And I almost missed my roll call vote because I'm always used to voting right after Regent Garten. But But I just want to say thank you so much for this sweet note.
Yes.
And this cool pen that's got my name written on it. But it's been an honor to serve with you, and I admire what you're doing and your success in TBR. So thank you.
Thank you. Regent Powers.
Thank you. Sweet woman. That note is beautiful, and I know everyone's got their little special note, but mine's the best because it references Lucas. So as I read that note and looked across at your beautiful face, Matthew 5 came to mind, and I just have to read it because Jesus calls us to let your light shine before others that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. And girl, you do it. Every time that I see you, you're lit up, and you just have such an exuberance about you, but it's backed up with work and a high ethic. And it was lovely to meet your mom last meeting that we had, and it's very clear that it comes from great upbringing, and I'm just so proud of you, and may God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Chancellor.
Yeah,
It was beautiful.
Leah, you have been an amazing representative of all of our students, and you are an amazing individual, and I cannot wait to watch where you are headed in this lifetime because you are so young and there's so much ahead of you. But the one thing I'd like you to keep in mind is TBR is a great place to work. I know. We would love to have you there at some point in time. I know Diesel Technology is your calling now, and you've got great things ahead of you, but you have been an incredible representation and just an incredible person. So thank you for all you've done.
Thank you. And when we see you there and you've got the big pink bow on out amongst all of those big trucks, it's so much fun. So much fun. And remember, President Garrett won't be there forever, so there's always... Just kidding. The floor is yours.
Thank you. This past year has gone way faster than I anticipated it to. I was like, okay, my term's a year. That's such a long time. That's a long time, whatever. And I just realized this morning on the way here that I've just now got the hang of being a board member, and I know how things go, and I know the order of everything, and I've learned Robert's Rules of Order. And now it's my last meeting after I finally feel like I have everything under control. So I wish the term were 2 years or, forever. But I have enjoyed every minute of it. I've learned so much from each and every single one of y'all. I could not have asked for a better group of people to serve with at all. This has been one of the best opportunities that I've had so far in my life. I'm only 20 years old, and I know I have many, many more years to go, but I will always know that I have so many people here that from day one have been super, super supportive and will help me out whenever I need it. I appreciate that so much. Thank you, President Garrett. Without you, I would not be here right now. I would not be sitting up here. But I would say TCAT Nashville has had a lot of wins this past year, and they all come back to you. So I'm so glad to say that you are my president and that I am an alumni under you.
Oh, beautifully said.
One last thing. You all do have little gifts
Yes.
and a personalized card at all of your microphones. So be sure to take those home. And everyone who is calling in, I will find out a way to mail those to y'all, so y'all will get yours as well.
Thank you so much. It's just so like you to be thoughtful of all of us on your big day. Thank you so much. You'll keep us posted?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you. We're just proud to know you. Thank you. At this point in the program, I would like to turn the gavel over to Regent Varlin to conduct the election of the vice chair for this next year.
Right.
Thank you.
It's a scary time, isn't it? So it is with great pleasure that I will call for nominations for vice chair of the board for 2024-2025 by the way of making a motion to nominate Emily Reynolds to be our vice chair.
Second.
Can I have a second?
I would like to second that.
Yes, thank you. Seconded by Mary Lou Apple. And are there any other nominations? Hearing none. Lucky you. All right. Is there a motion to close the nominations? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second. So we need a roll call vote for this, Miss Mariah?
I would agree with that.
It
by the
says
way.
specifically that you're not allowed to speak. I'm just kidding.
No, I would like for us as regents, because we all come here and contribute our time and are enthusiastic about it, to take a look at what this position as filled by Vice Chair Reynolds, Chair Reynolds, is just a slave's job. And I don't mean that disrespectfully to anybody, but you put so much time into what goes on here, and you get nothing for it. And I cannot be respectful enough for what you do. I mean, you contribute so much to the way the board works, the way the presidents are reappointed. You serve on so many committees. You're always there, and you've been doing it for how long?
14 years on the board, and 10 as vice chair.
Wow. Anyway, I have huge respect for what you do, and thank you for doing it. And you absolutely have my vote.
And what you don't see is all the time that she gives to me.
We have a good time.
We do. And she does it so graciously, as only Emily Reynolds can do. So, let's get on with the vote before y'all start crying.
Thank you. Regent Apple.
Aye.
Regent Burdine.
Aye.
Regent Garten.
Aye.
Regent George.
Aye.
Regent Gill.
Aye.
Regent Kastner.
Aye.
Regent Pilkington.
Aye.
Regent Powers.
Aye.
Commissioner Reynolds.
Aye.
Regent Stevenson.
Aye.
Regent Spurgeon.
Aye.
Regent Varlin. And Regent White.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Regent Varlin. I appreciate you guys. Thank you. And, you know, Regent Gill, in many ways, I am compensated for this. It makes my heart full, and it makes me even more proud to be a Tennessean. And I am just delighted to know each and every one of you. So thank you again for this opportunity for another year, another upcoming successful year. So appreciate you all very much. And between the three of us, we can't get through a meeting without crying. So appreciate you guys so much. So September, which will be here before we know it, we are returning to West Tennessee to head to Dyersburg State Community College, which will be a great spot. We will start our work on Thursday, September 19, with our board meeting back on our traditional Friday, September 20. Chancellor, any closing announcements?
I do have just a few other things I'd like to say. Of course, in TBR, you may not be aware, but we actually have an expert interim president, and that expert has agreed to serve as our interim president, Jackson State, Dr. Jeff Sisk. If you would please stand and let us thank you. Jackson TCAT. He's already been at Jackson State. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to scare anyone. Jeff, thank you for agreeing to step in and do, how many does this make now? 9? I think we're at 9 interims, so we are most appreciative that he's agreeing to do that until we do appoint a new president of Jackson TCAT. Sorry.
The Guinness Book of World Records.
I think he has it. I think he's got it. Across the country, you probably do hold the record number. We are so looking forward to our event tomorrow. Thanks to all of you, the great team that has worked hard to put that together. I think you're all going to be really tickled when you get over to Stanton tomorrow and see this new building. I once again want to say thank you to Jackson and to Crump for the great day that you provided for us. Again, I know this was short notice and you did it just beautifully. So thank you so much, Carol, for all that you've done. And Stephen. for the great lunch. Thank you very much.
President Rothstein, anything we need to know, or Mariah, any details that you guys need to share for tonight?
I'll just say that the buses will take everyone back to the hotel. The hospitality room at the DoubleTree will open at 4:30, and the buses will be available at 6:15 to take everyone over to the country club for dinner. And there is a gift out in the lobby for everyone that is here, so please pick that up on your way out. So, and I hope that you enjoyed your time on campus today. It was really a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much.
Thank you. We are honored. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, by the way, at Stanton, we've got over a couple hundred people coming tomorrow.
Almost 300.
Yeah.
The governor is going to be there.
And Governor Lee will be there. So we're going to have a big day tomorrow with this historic opening of our TCAT Stanton. So with that, does anyone have any further business or announcements? Hearing none, you guys, we have finished on time. We have had a great afternoon, a little early. We'll give you a little time back. See you shortly. And with that, if there are no objections, and with my eternal gratitude, we are adjourned.